It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Rich Homie Quan snitching. At this point, I'm not even surprised. Not only has more paperwork dropped in the YSL case, but an audio recording just dropped of none other than Rich Homie Quan spitting a whole verse to law enforcement about Young Thug.
Right. So my hand was on the spot. I saw it. We got a show together. I'm like, stop asking yourself. Everybody been talking about it. I'm gonna give you a minute to ask myself. Right. So no as I knew what you can't prove. Point blank period. I ain't no rat, I ain't telling you. I'm just being real time. I got how much I love and let. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit real.
While it may be hard for some to understand Rich Homie speaking a language native to the streets of Atlanta, what he's speaking on is the very murder that would cause the fall of YSL.
I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, man. You did. Atlanta, Georgia.
There are shell casings up and down the street. Now, I'm told one of the men who was shot, a man in his mid-20s, is in critical condition, but that his status could change for the worse overnight.
Rich Homie Quan's former manager, Donovan Thomas, who went by the name Peanut or Big Nut, was a member of the Inglewood family Bloods. His 2015 assassination outside of an Atlanta barbershop would result in a back-and-forth war between Inglewood family and Sex Money Murder. The majority of the violence will be documented in the YSL indictment. Prosecutors allege Young Thug was in communications with Sex Money Murder leader Kyle Ory, who's currently serving a life sentence in Georgia State Prison. Big Nut was said to have snitched against members of the gang, and prosecutors allege Young Thug orchestrated his death by renting the vehicle YSL members would later use to commit the drive-by that took Nut's life. After the hit, Thug and the alleged shooters would take a trip to Miami to lay low. Rich Homie Quan would speak with investigators explaining he never saw Thug in Atlanta after the murder. He was going to confront him at a Miami show over the rumors that Thug played a part in Nut's death. Rich Homie would allege people knew Thug had something to do with it, but they couldn't prove it. He'd then say he isn't a rat and he isn't telling. He's just keeping it real with investigators. Rich Homie would also allege Thug was jealous of the relationship he had with Nut, as Thug wanted to control the Atlanta music scene, and Nut was keeping Rich Homie at a distance from Thug.
Are you?
Oh.
From Thug. This wasn't all Rich Homie would speak on, though. 2 pictures of the interview transcripts would make its way to News Made It. Rich Homie would state him and Thug frequented or resided in the same condominium leading up to Nut's death, and that they were cool. But after the murder, they drifted apart. 14 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie would speak on his truck being shot up and immediately calling Young Thug, alleging his people were behind it. He'd then speak on his father's barbershop being shot up and knowing whoever did it had something to do with Nut's death. 4 months before Nut was killed, a gunman would open fire inside of a barbershop, striking Rich Homie's father 4 times. The barbershop had just been shot up a month prior to this incident. Investigators believe the attack stemmed from Rich Homie beefing with local rappers, but at the time, Rich Homie Quan denied the rumors. Now speaking with investigators, when asked why his father would be targeted, Rich Homie explained at the time, him and Thug were doing shows together, but he was getting the most money. They wanted his dad out of the picture to further control Rich Homie's management, and they knew his dad was at the barbershop 24/7. He had no proof Thug was behind the shooting, but he did bring up an argument his dad had with Birdman. His father wouldn't share the details on what was said, but would later tell him, "We're going to fall back from them." 22 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie was asked why he wouldn't sign with Birdman, and he explained other artists are constantly complaining.
Damn, so nigga shot Rich Homie Quan daddy? God damn, boy, hey look, boy, I ain't gonna even cap, boy, I ain't know all that shit that was going on, boy. Them niggas shot Rich Homie daddy?
Boy, them niggas, cause he argued with Bird, man. Damn, shout out to 1090 Jake, boy. He always real thorough, boy. He always real thorough.
About their financial situation. He felt he'd make more money on his own and then later sign. Rich Homie would say that after Nut was killed, he didn't contact Thug and Thug didn't contact him. Thug would move out of the condo about 2 weeks after the murder, and when asked why Thug called him bitch Homie Quan 2 months after Nut's death, he didn't have an answer. Providing the investigator with Young Thug's phone numbers, the investigator asked if Thug ever made any threatening messages to him, but Rich Homie would state he's smarter than that. Roughly 30 minutes into the interview, the paperwork would be cut off. So realistically, we don't know how long Rich Homie sat down with investigators, but we do know he's on the YSL witness list. This leaves the possibility that Rich Homie would be called in to testify against Thug, as he'd have to recite everything said in the interview in front of Young Thug. So did Rich Homie Quan snitch? Absolutely. He's alleging Thug was behind the murder of Nut, the shooting of his father, and the shooting of his truck. Rich Homie would say he's keeping it real with investigators, and regardless of whether or not he portrayed a street lifestyle and abides by the street code, this is another major loss for the city of Atlanta, as another Atlanta rapper has cooperated. Now this is bad, and from what I heard from a source in Atlanta, the DA is trying to find out who's leaking all this, and they're trying to put charges on people for leaking this information, because stuff like this will make a witness not want to cooperate. And if a witness is like, hey, I just got exposed by so-and-so and they just released all this stuff that y'all said wasn't going to get released, I don't want nothing to do with this, I don't want to testify, the courts can then charge that person with tampering with the witness. You just affected the case by fucking up a witness testimony. So this is getting deep. They're trying to find out who exposed YSL Woody. I guarantee you they're trying to find out who just released the audio to Rich Homie Quan. I feel that a lot of people are going to have different opinions in this situation. Does Rich Homie Quan abide by the street code? I never heard of him having a gang affiliation. I don't really remember him talking about shooting people, this, that, and the third. He's saying a close friend of his was killed. He's willing to tell investigators everything he knows. He's saying his father was targeted and shot, and he himself was targeted and shot at. And goddamn, it's just like, who else is gonna tell? Who else already told and we don't know about it? I mean, they got mad names on the witness list. Even Lil Wayne and YF and Lucci. And Lucci just denied the deal they were trying to give him in his RICO case. So I can't imagine what they have that would make him a witness in this case. But in my opinion, just from what I read, since we don't know how long this interrogation actually was, we just know it was about 30 minutes, he did bad. He definitely did bad. Definitely didn't have to say all that, but made the decision to do so. I haven't heard a response from him after everything came out on the internet. I know that the night this video is being recorded, he's supposed to be performing at the same show as Boosie and Webby, and I don't know if there's going to be any conflict from that situation. We're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But hey, let me know y'all thoughts and comments in the comments section. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. Until next time.
Yo, it's your boy Marita, boy. I'm back up in this thing, man. Listen. Shout out to 1090 Jake, man. Shout out to my moderator, Tanel Bowen, Dream Dog, Audio Crack 22, Flyboy Mike. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to King Cotty Apparel. I put King on my boy name. He came through last night, bless us. We talked for a while on here. Dropped a bunch of jewels, dropped a bunch of game. If you missed it, go look at the last live we did last night. It's a 9-hour live. You know your boy grind real hard. Hard work beat talent. If talent don't work hard, you feel what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You just gotta grind. You know what I mean? We're on the grind. Been on the grind. It's just in me. Something I love to do. So I get to y'all. Not even like work for me. Um, Also shout out to Unspoken Crime Mysteries, Unspoken Crime Murders. My boy got 2 channels. Go subscribe. Also shout out to Lil Kel's Truth Movement. I seen you last night, Lil Kel, still trying to get the message out, man. Go subscribe to my boy Lil Kel Truth Movement. I see you. I see you, gang. Also shout out to Trigger Man. Tell him, goddamn me. If y'all hear me say goddamn me, that mean I got it from Trigger Man, man. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? This situation with Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug. Okay, so I'm gonna do it like this. So you know me, my underlying sentiment, my underlying motto at the end of the day, gonna be get out the streets, young people. Get out the streets before the streets take you under, young people. This situation right here, right? We just heard what's going on. You know, Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan used to be pretty close. Actually, Rich Homie Quan popped off before Young Thug majorly, and then they started doing the Rich Gang thing with Birdman, and then it just seemed like Rich Homie Quan kind of fell back and fell off, and Young Thug just went through the roof, through the stratosphere, and now we know why. Um, it's alleged that Young Thug had something to do with Nuts' death. I had been heard this. Again, like I said, I know people that's real close to Young Thug, and they say Young Thug really is like that, like that, like that. But I'm gonna say this right. I'm gonna give you 2 parts of this one. Rich Homie Quan definitely is snitching. Definitely snitching. Now I'm gonna say this. All the stuff that Rich Homie Quan telling now, it already done happened. Like this stuff happened years ago. Like it's already done happened. So like if you when you come out and tell this shit now, when Young Thug is in this Rico case and you know they're trying to give him time and all of this and that, they're trying to convict him. It makes it look like you trying to make sure he never sees the streets again. Because this stuff already been done happened. And you don't really have to tell this if you don't want to. To me, it looks like you're telling this because you really got something against him for what allegedly he done. And I get it. I understand. They say he shot up. They say they had something to do with your car getting shot up. They had something to do with one of your closest friends getting killed. Nut. And they shot, allegedly had something to do with your daddy, barbershop, and your daddy getting shot 4 times. I get it. I get it. But it happened. All that stuff been happened though. Like, and you didn't do nothing about it but way back then. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is it looked bad because either you should have did something about it or you should have did something about it. You get what I'm saying? Like it's like either you should have been done did this or you should have been done did something about it. You get what I'm saying? It's like now that you see that they got him, you piling it on because you really didn't want to do nothing really about it. So you piling it on now because they got him and you want to make sure they got him. So I'm just addressing the fact that of what you're doing. I'm not saying I don't get it or I don't or I disagree with it or not. I'm just telling you how it looks is the way you're doing it. You get what I'm saying? I'm not. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm not saying that I don't get it. I'm just telling you what it looked like. It looked like you've been wanting to do it, but you didn't do it. But now that they got it, I'm finna do it. It's like the 48 laws of power. They say when you get your enemy down, finish him totally. That is what it looks like he's doing. Because he was still kind of vibing with Thug a little bit. Recently, they had to kind of patch it up a little bit or whatever. But it's like, see, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all something, dog. That's why this should be a dangerous game people be playing, bro. I'm telling you, I've seen it. It'd be like Game of Thrones. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like politics, but at the same time, it's life and death that hang in the balance of certain moves and shit like that. And that's what this shit kind of sort of is because he never liked Young Thug. He never after the shit happened with Nut. Rich Homie Quan never liked Young Thug. Let's just be real. After that dude Nut got killed, Rich Homie Quan never liked him after that because he loved Nut and he felt like he shouldn't have been killed, right? But I'm sure he didn't really voice it like he wanted to, probably because he didn't want to get into it with Young Thug and become a target. And he became a target anyway because of how he started moving and Young Thug saw the change in it, you know? And that's what I'm saying. It's like Game of Thrones. So when Young Thug did that, allegedly he created an enemy, but not an enemy that was gonna try to do something to him right then. He created an enemy that if he ever get the opportunity to stick the knife in you to finish you off, he will. And this is what Rich Homie Quan doing. Rich Homie Quan seeing that they got him and he trying to make sure Young Thug do not ever see the streets again. You see what I'm saying? He trying to make sure Young Thug do not ever see the streets again. Look, Rich Homie Quan been wanted that nigga out of here. He been wanted that nigga dead or in jail because of what he did to Nut, what he allegedly did to his daddy, and shooting up Rich Homie Quan vehicle too. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So he just sat and waited. He just sat and waited for his opportunity, and boom, here it is. Because the stuff that he's telling, he ain't have to tell. Look where he talking at. He talking in his daddy barber shop. He ain't have to tell none of this. Young Thug already roped off for a Rico. He could have just sat back and let the state do what they do, and let them go on and whoever all the evidence they already got, let that rock out like that. No, he ain't do that. He wants to make sure he wants to make sure Thug pays for all of this shit. He been wanting to make sure Thug pays for all of this shit. He just didn't have the power, the muscle, the the courage to do it. But now that he see that they got his ass behind them bars, and he see that they got all this evidence against him, and he see that the crew falling apart, you know what I'm saying? This nigga snitching, this nigga in jail, this nigga in jail. He see that they weak. He see that it's time now. I can do this now. You see, Rich Homie Quan started back doing shows and putting more music out there and getting more motion and this and that there. You see? Now he feel like his Thug is his weakest. Let's stick the knife in him. Let's finish him off. Let's make sure he get 100 years. He'll never get out again. Or if he do get out, he'll be so goddamn old to it's over with. This is what happened here. This is what happened here. This is exactly what happened here. This is why I tell my young people, get out the streets. This is where I tell my young people to get out the streets. Young Thug did not have to be involved in any of this. You got money, you got fame, you got notoriety. Why is you indulging in this bullshit? You get rich to get out the streets, to get your family out the streets. You don't get rich to keep doing the shit that you was doing or could have been doing when you was in the streets or poor. It's a backwards way of thinking. You know what I mean? It's like when they get rich, they so in a mental cage to they don't even understand what to do with their time once they get once they don't have to struggle anymore. So they go back around and hang out in the hood and get into it or beef or show off or flash or stunt on the people that they probably already didn't like as far as like the ops and or they still hang in these same places. No, bro. No, bro. You get rich, bro. You bring your peoples with you from that. You bring them with you. We go to LA. We go out there in the hills out there and we party out there with us. We go to Dubai and we party out there with us. You feel me? We might go to the islands. We go out there and we party with us. We don't go back down there and party down in there where anybody can have access to us and we can get into it with the broke niggas who don't like us. No. We take them, we go get our peoples and we tell them, oh, y'all be at the airport at this such and such time. Have your bags, have everything you need. The plane's gonna be ready on the tarmac, ready to slide at this time. Just be there. Where we going? Don't worry about it. Just bring bathing suits and change of clothes and all of that. Who all can go? Don't worry about it. Just show up. You feel me? That's how you do that. Wherever the plane land, that's where we at. That's how you do that. You don't go back down in there and to where the people who don't like you got access to you at. You feel me? Like they ain't getting this because you gonna get into arguments and beefs and shit with them. I ain't saying you can't roll through, because I know all your peoples ain't gonna leave. You feel me? Great grandmama them ain't gonna leave. They settled in. Like like my boy name. Like honey gone praising them grandmama them. You know what I'm saying? We know they all ain't gonna leave. You know, we know that. We know that. But I'm saying though, as far as when you get that money, you get away, man. You get money to disappear. You know, you get money so your children ain't got to grow up in the environment that you grew up in. You want your children not to know nothing about the hood, if it's possible. You know, for real. Like Young Thug and them got that money and did the same shit he could have did when he didn't have no money, or the same shit he was doing when he had no money. I don't see this shit happen a bunch of times. I don't see this shit happen in my hood. I don't see people get millions and come right and stay right back around in the hood and end up beefing with the broke niggas in the hood. And I ain't broke. I ain't talking about broke. I'm talking about these dudes have money, but not no real money like the millionaires do. And they get into real beef with these guys, and it's a real situation, like ongoing situation. Like this happens every day, B, especially with the rappers. All the rappers, I ain't gonna say all of them, but a lot of the rappers that I know, they be beefing. You know what I'm saying? And they be having money. Be having a couple $1 million or something like that. So they be right down there in the hood beefing with the dudes who ain't got no money. Like I'm talking about, they be spinning the block and doing all of this shit and all of that there with the dudes who ain't got no money. That's crazy. Like, bro, just get on the plane and go about your business. Them niggas can't catch you. Them niggas ain't got no money to be globe hopping across the world. So why is you indulging in the bullshit? But I'm gonna tell you what it be too. It be pride, and it be an eye for an eye. See, it be the cycle keep continuing. You see what I'm saying? It be the, and this is what I tell you. See, they will have you believe that you always got to keep get back, or you got to keep spinning. Nah, nah. Let me tell you something too. Sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing. I'm telling you, bro. Listen, I ain't gonna say I'm an expert. I mean, a master at this shit, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at thinking. I'm pretty good at being able to see uh, down the road a good little ways before I get there to know what I think most likely gonna happen in the situation. That way I know how to move. I'm pretty good at outthinking a lot of people. That's how I come out and survive this long. You feel me? Along with my character and my morals and the shit that I stand for, the shit that I won't do and the shit that I won't put up with, and with God, because I pray a lot. That's how I be making it through. You feel me? You got to think, motherfucker, sometimes. Now, what I mean by that is sometimes the best move to do is to do nothing. See, that's one thing that these generations don't understand. Sometimes the best move to do is to do nothing. I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. Sometimes you can run into people in the streets, right? And let's say I ain't gonna say you get into it with them, but say you have a situation or an issue with them, right? It's not a full get into it with them, but you know you don't like them, you know they don't like you, and you really got enough to go and do something to them, but you don't. You know why you don't sometimes? Because you see, if you just get out the way, if you just move out the way, that person gonna self-destruct anyway. All you gotta do is take yourself out the equation. And you know how you know they're gonna self-destruct? Because of the way they move, the things that they're doing, they're putting themselves out there, they're getting into it with this person, they doing this with that person, they doing stupid shit. But if you, these are the type of people that do not care for themselves, they care about themselves. They may look like they do, but they don't. You know why? Because they're willing to crash out at any moment. When you see one of them guys that's willing to crash out at any moment, about the smallest little thing, he want to go spin the block, he want to go do this to that person, he'll shoot a bitch in broad daylight. It's always a situation. Nobody can say this stuff to him. Anytime somebody says something to him, he want to kill him. You know what you do? You get out his way. You know why? Because he ain't got nothing. He don't give a fuck about his life. It depends on what he do to you, but I'm telling you, a lot of times you just do it like the matador, olay. You just olay him. You just olay him. You let him run right on past you. You feel me? Now you could have did him something. You could have got him out of here. You could have went to war with him, but you realize I got more to lose than this nigga. This nigga don't even give a fuck about himself. He'll be dead in a year. So you know what you do? You just move out the way. And you know what happens? A lot of times they run right into the police, or they run right into a situation, or they be dead in a year. I done seen that happen a lot of times. I done did it a couple times. I done olayed niggas ass right up out of here. Olay. You just get your little red little sheet and you just dangling in front of their face. And when they come charging, you just olay like a bull. You just olay their ass right on up out of here. Man, there's so many niggas that was played that role and I olayed their ass, they end up getting a lot of time getting caught up trying to do some dumb shit, or they ended up dead. I olayed their ass right out of here. I ain't even have to shoot a bullet. You feel what I'm saying? Now, if I would have shot the bullet that killed the nigga, then I would have had to make sure I did it right, make sure I ain't go to jail, make sure don't nobody know who I did it, so I can't get in no situation with his peoples. It just come with a whole host of problems. But when you lay a nigga ass, you really ain't do nothing. I ain't do nothing, bro. Man, bro, where you was at, bro? Oh man, shit, I've been in Georgia for about 6 months, bro. And you really was in Georgia. See what I'm saying? You happy than a motherfucker this nigga dead. I'm telling you how it be. You be happy than a motherfucker this nigga dead because you ain't like him no way because you really want to do something to him, but you saw he was gonna crash out anyway. So you just olayed his ass and let his ass and now he riding in that black truck. You feel me? I'm telling you, I done seen shit happen, but I done did this shit quite a few times, I'm telling you. Or niggas get roped off and go to jail for a long time, or niggas get caught snitching on niggas. Now it's other niggas that want to kill him. It's other niggas that beefing with him. He ain't even got time. He ain't even thinking about you no more. You just sitting back watching. I'm telling you, Rich Homie Quan, he olayed Young Thug, but he turned around and really did something about it, or tried to do something about it. And he proactively joined the investigation or the criminal case in order to make sure he get his get back, he get his revenge for Young Thug shooting his friend Nut, allegedly shooting his daddy barbershop and shooting his daddy allegedly, and shooting up his truck allegedly. This is what this is all about. Rich Homie had that shit festering inside. He didn't like what happened with the situation, and he was waiting for an opportunity to get him up out of here. He don't feel bad about it. Trust me, he don't feel bad about it. He probably he probably fucked up that this shit came out. He don't like that because it's clear that he's. I'm gonna say how I'm trying to put this. He don't want no trouble. I'm gonna tell you how you know he don't want no trouble because he waited this long to do this. I'm talking about like he ain't go to war with him or nothing like that. You feel me? Like he ain't when this shit all popped off. He ain't. You know why he ain't go to war? Because he didn't want to, or he felt like he wasn't strong enough, or he really ain't about that life. It's all of that. Oh, listen, all of that is understandable. Listen, let me tell you something. Genghis Khan, y'all know who Genghis Khan is? Genghis Khan was the Mongol who almost took over the whole world. You know what I'm saying? You know what Genghis Khan say? Genghis Khan say only fools fight battles they know they cannot win. See what I'm saying? So all that, oh, I'm just gonna do the 300 thing. Remember the movie 300 where they just this is Sparta, where you just fight till you and you know you're gonna die. You just fight. No, that Genghis Khan say that shit stupid. Genghis Khan say you're supposed to wait until you got an opportunity to win. Then you fight. Until then, you concede. You concede. This is why in the 48 laws of power, it say when you get your enemy down, you crush them totally. You know why? Because if you let your enemy concede, he possibly can live long enough to regain his strength, and you get weak, and he can destroy you. See what I'm saying? This is what Rich Homie Quan did. He didn't want to go to war. He knew he couldn't fight with the YSL boys. He didn't have the crew, the gang, the will. He didn't want to do that. He ain't that type of nigga. He ain't that type of I'm finna get in the streets and go to war with you. He probably protect himself, but he not the type of dude that'll do all of that type of shit. You see what I'm saying? He the type of dude that he a cool, smooth type nigga. So what he did was he waited until Young Thug was weak and he felt like he and the crew was weak. All the niggas snitching in jail, all type of shit. And now he can jump out the cut with that knife and stick it right in Thug motherfucking heart. That is what Rich Homie Quan doing. And the reason why Rich Homie Quan is able to do that is because Young Thug did not do what the 48 laws of power say do. When you get your enemy down, you crush him totally. I'm not saying that Rich Homie was his enemy, but he was in that situation when he started shooting at Rich Homie daddy, and then he shot at Rich Homie. So at that point, he became your enemy just by the circumstance. And when Young Thug let Rich Homie Quan live or didn't finish the job, or whoever was doing it didn't finish the job, they allowed for this to be able to happen. Rich Homie knew what he was doing. Rich Homie, he was on laying Young Thug. He was waiting for a situation to where Young Thug could be vulnerable or somebody else could do the work for him. You know what I'm saying? He knew what he was doing. I'm telling you, this is the art of war. This is Sun Tzu, the art of war. But this is the shit that be going on out there in the streets, y'all. That's why I be telling these young people to get out the streets, because you don't want to be involved in all of this type of shit. I'm telling you, all either of them had to do was just to take themselves out the situation. Young Thug did not have to be involved. He did not have to be on trial. He did not have to be. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't feel sorry for Thug at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. Not when I talk to the people that I talk to, and I know they be really around him. That's why I say like this shit don't be no military secret. And they was telling me how he was rolling. I ain't know all of this bullshit, but they was telling me in so many ways he liked that, right? Then when you hear about when you see YSL Woody saying what he was saying in the interrogation room, when you hear the charges that these guys had, the shit that they was doing, the way that they was doing them, the reason they was doing them for, man, I don't got no sympathy for him. He was proactively out there doing that shit and didn't have to do it. That shit need to portray a certain image. Bro, let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something, bro. Real, when you real, like I'm saying, when you really a man, when you really real, you don't have to portray no image, nigga. That shit, like I'm trying to explain to y'all some shit, bro. When you try to portray something, you're not for real. You're fake. It's a facade. And I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of times people can see through it too. You just don't think they can see through it. We had a dude in the hood, bro. I ain't gonna say his name. We had a dude in the hood, bro. This nigga used to walk around and act like he was the gangsters motherfucker in the hood. He'll shoot up shit. He'll do all of this. He'll do that. Every time you see him, he's shooting at somebody. He doing this. He doing that. He always got a growl on his face. He always clutching. He always, bro. I promise you on everything. We knew he was soft. I promise you, but I never said that. Like me and a couple of my partners, because you know, we were never that tight. You feel me? Like we were never we the cool, chill. You know what I'm talking about? But you fuck with me, you finna get that same shit. What you think you finna get from that nigga with the growl and the who clutching and all of that type of shit, right? But we knew, right? We knew because we been out here. We knew. We was like, oh, that nigga soft as fuck. But to the bro, you should have seen it. To the people who didn't know, or to the chicks, or to the soft niggas, they was like, oh, bro, gangster, bro, this. I'm talking about this nigga done did shit now. He done shot people, shot up shit, all type of shit. But we still knew he was soft. I'm telling you that, but this was we knew he was soft before he showed any softness. We knew he was. We knew. You know how we knew? Because he was too gangster, too rah rah, too Oh, I kill you. And he done shot people. He done did shit. But we still, with me and my dogs, we still was sitting from afar looking at him like, he's soft. I promise you. I promise you. Guess what came out? He ended up being really soft. When the shit played out, he ended up really being soft. He now, I ain't gonna say the situation, but I'm gonna say this. He's now disgraced from the hood. He cannot come back to the hood. All that gangster rah-rah shit he was doing, all that shit went for nothing. And he's still alive, but he's a disgrace now. He hides in the shadows now. He can't even hold his head high because he got shit on his jacket. He was never that gangster. It was all a defense mechanism. It was all a scare tactic. So people wouldn't see what was really inside. But we saw it. We saw it from, I know I did. We used to talk about it amongst ourselves. We let him crash out on his own because we knew he would. You don't have to, if when you real, you don't, that tough guy shit, all of that shit there, that shit be a scare tactic. That shit be to scare people off your ass. Trust me. I done been out here. You can't tell me shit. I done seen it. The niggas that really gonna do something to you do not try to scare you off their ass. The niggas that walk around with guns all day so you can see them and talk crazy and have their shirt off and you don't know me. Them type of niggas there, all of them soft. All of them pussy. If you put them somewhere where they can't get a hold to a gun, you will see it. You feel me? All of them soft. The niggas that'll do something to you be the cool, quiet niggas, short niggas. You feel what I'm saying? A short nigga do something to you. The cool, quiet, laughing niggas, the niggas that don't talk very much, and the short niggas. Not the raw nigga. Not the nigga who always got a gun, talking shit, this and that. Now, that is a scare tactic. They're doing that because they want people not to mess with them. See me, I'm the opposite. I laugh with you, I joke with you, you will never see that other side of me unless you get me there. Or it's already too late. You feel me? Like I don't do that. I don't do that trying to scare you off me. I'm damn near trying to scare you. I'm damn near trying to scare you on me. That's damn near what I'm doing. I'm doing the reverse. I'm not trying to get you not to try me. I'm trying to get you to try me so I can fuck you up. That's how I move. I want you to underestimate me so I can fuck you up. That's how I move. But that's just how it's just natural for me. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I naturally am. I don't be scared of shit. You feel me? I be ready to die. You know what I'm talking about? For real. Like all jokes aside, I told y'all anything I ever do, I be knowing the consequences of them before I do them. Or I ain't gonna do it. That's how I survived this long. You feel me? That's why I never snitched on nobody, because anything I did, I could do the time for. You feel me? Or I ain't gonna do it. You feel me? So I be ready to, like, everything I do, I already know the consequences or possibly the consequences of it before I do it. So if I go to war with you, I know I might could die. You feel me? Or I might could get you too. You see what I'm saying? So regardless of whatever the consequences be, I be ready for it. Mentally, I'm already ready. I'm already all in with it. See what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I'm a dangerous motherfucker when it come down to it because I be knowing what I don't have to get all the way mad to get there. I just know I can be calm, cool right now. but I know the next play. I know what I'm in, so I know what the next play is. So then that's what it is. You see what I'm saying? You gotta understand what I'm saying. But I'm just trying to explain all the situations where these motherfuckers be getting themselves fucked up at. You know, a lot of people we were talking about last night. A lot of these dudes don't got nothing to think with, bro, and they just slow. So they get their own stuff up out of here, one way or the other. And that's what happened to Young Thug. That's what happened to Young Thug. I'm gonna play the video one more time for the people in here who might have not have saw it, and then we're gonna go into it.
It's 1090J, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're gonna be speaking on Rich Homie Quan snitching. At this point, I'm not even surprised. Not only has more paperwork dropped in the YSL case, but an audio recording just dropped of none other than Rich Homie Quan spitting a whole verse to law enforcement about Young Thug.
Right. My hand was on the spot. I saw it. We were show together. I'm like, don't just ask me yourself. Everybody been talking about I'm gonna give you a man to ask myself. Right. Swear, man. The no as I knew when they can't prove. Point blank period. I ain't no rat. I ain't telling you. I'm just being real time. I got how much I love and left. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real fuck.
While it may be hard for some to understand Rich Homie speaking a language native to the streets of Atlanta, what he's speaking on is the very murder that would cause the fall of YSL.
I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, man. You did. Atlanta, Georgia.
There are shell casings up and down the street. Now, I'm told one of the men who was shot, a man in his mid-20s, is in critical condition, but that his status could change for the worse overnight.
Rich Homie Quan's former manager, Donovan Thomas, who went by the name Peanut or Big Nut, was a member of the Inglewood family Bloods. His 2015 assassination outside of an Atlanta barbershop would result in a back-and-forth war between Inglewood family and Sex Money Murder. The majority of the violence will be documented in the YSL indictment. Prosecutors allege Young Thug was in communications with Sex Money Murder leader Kyle Ori, who's currently serving a life sentence in Georgia State Prison. Big Nut was said to have snitched against members of the gang, and prosecutors allege Young Thug orchestrated his death by renting the vehicle YSL members would later use to commit the drive-by that took Nut's life. After the hit, Thug and the alleged shooters would take a trip to Miami to lay low. Rich Homie Quan would speak with investigators explaining he never saw Thug in Atlanta after the murder. He was going to confront him at a Miami show over the rumors that Thug played a part in Nut's death. Rich Homie would allege people knew Thug had something to do with it, but they couldn't prove it. He'd then say he isn't a rat and he isn't telling. He's just keeping it real with investigators. Rich Homie would also allege Thug was jealous of the relationship he had with Nut, as Thug wanted to control the Atlanta music scene, and Nut was keeping Rich Homie at a distance from Thug. This wasn't all Rich Homie would speak on, though. 2 pictures of the interview transcripts would make its way to News Made It. Rich Homie would state him and Thug frequented or resided in the same condominium leading up to Nut's death, and that they were cool. But after the murder, they drifted apart. 14 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie would speak on his truck being shot up and immediately calling Young Thug, alleging his people were behind it. He'd then speak on his father's barber shop being shot up and knowing whoever did it had something to do with Nut's death. 4 months before Nut was killed, a gunman would open fire inside of a barber shop, striking Rich Homie's father 4 times. The barber shop had just been shot up a month prior to this incident. Investigators believe the attack stemmed from Rich Homie beefing with local rappers, but at the time, Rich Homie Quan denied the rumors. Now speaking with investigators, when asked why his father would be targeted, Rich Homie explained at the time, him and Thug were doing shows together, but he was getting the most money. They wanted his dad out of the picture to further control Rich Homie's management, and they knew his dad was at the barber shop 24/7. He had no proof Thug was behind the shooting, but he did bring up an argument his dad had with Birdman. His father wouldn't share the details on what was said, but would later tell him, "We're gonna fall back from them." 22 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie was asked why he wouldn't sign with Birdman, and he explained other artists are constantly complaining about their financial situation. He felt he'd make more money on his own and then later sign. Rich Homie would say that after Nut was killed, he didn't contact Thug, and Thug didn't contact him. Thug would move out of the condo about 2 weeks after the murder, and when asked why Thug called him bitch Homie Quan 2 months after Nut's death, he didn't have an answer. Providing the investigator with Young Thug's phone numbers, the investigator asked if Thug ever made any threatening messages to him, but Rich Homie would state he's smarter than that. Roughly 30 minutes into the interview, the paperwork would be cut off. So realistically, we don't know how long Rich Homie sat down with investigators, but we do know he's on the YSL witness list. This leaves the possibility that Rich Homie would be called in to testify against Thug, as he'd have to recite everything said in the interview in front of Young Thug. So did Rich Homie Quan snitch? Absolutely. He's alleging Thug was behind the murder of Nut, the shooting of his father, and the shooting of his truck. Rich Homie would say he's keeping it real with investigators, and regardless of whether or not he portrayed a street lifestyle and abides by the street code, this is another major loss for the city of Atlanta, as another Atlanta rapper has cooperated. Now this is bad, and from what I heard from a source in Atlanta, the DA is trying to find out who's leaking all this, and they're trying to put charges on people for leaking this information, because stuff like this will make a witness not want to cooperate. And if a witness is like,
I want to say this too. Let me tell you who leaking it all. Listen, bro. You got to pay attention. And they probably know to a certain extent. Young Thug and them, since they've been in jail, they've been having everybody in their mama bring or attempt to bring them drugs, right? So what it exposed to me was just how many people from the area in Atlanta or surrounding Atlanta who those boys knew in certain places in order to be able to get them to do things for them. They had a nurse who got caught bringing drugs in there. They say she had a list of YSL members in order that she could drop off the packages to them. They got called up to people, mamas, all type of shit. They done got the lawyers. They done had all type of people bringing in drugs for them. These are the same people. So it's not far fetched to me that they have people that they could get to leak this type of paperwork. They got people. Listen, I wouldn't doubt that they got people on the police force. I wouldn't doubt they got people everywhere, because all of those people are people from the area. They are people who grew up in and around Atlanta. Oh, we all know it, nigga. When I went to jail, I had my cousin was a CO. So I had a couple cousins that were COs. So when I was in the county jail, they gave me special privileges. I ate certain shit that other people couldn't eat. You feel me? I got to watch movies and shit like that there. You know, they'll pull me out my cell and give me pizza and food from the streets and shit like that. You feel me? So it's not far-fetched for me to believe that Young Thug them got peoples all through the inner workings of Atlanta and in these places in order to get this stuff. I'm telling you, I would bet $100 to $10 that they got polices that grew up from the area, that's their cousins or they cousins or they cool with and they been knew them, and you know they get certain shit. I'm telling you, certain shit can happen. Trust me, man. Listen, I ain't gonna try to say too much, but bro, listen. Some people that I knew from my city was able to get certain shit or know certain shit or get or make certain shit happen because they knew certain polices. You feel me? I'm gonna just put it like that. Certain shit was able to be done and certain shit was able to be known because they knew polices. That's why I keep trying to explain to everybody. They be talking about, oh, you ain't supposed to talk to police. Yes, yes, you did. That's just right. You're not supposed to. If you're in the streets and use the code, that's what the code say, right? But even the street niggas, they be involved with the police too. They just don't say. They just don't tell you. Shit, the police. Did you see? Did you have you ever watched Belly? Did you see the one of the dude's girlfriend was a police officer? That's what I keep trying to explain to people. Bro, the police is always right there somewhere in the cut, in the shadows, or they might be out front. You might be working for the police and don't know you working for the police when you selling work, nigga. I'm telling you some real shit here. This shit deeper than what you know or what you see. You might be working, you might think your plug, you might think your partner who's the plug, you might think he got a real plug, but his plug might be the police and his plug might be really crooked. The plug might not be trying to put him in jail. They might be just old crooked ass police that got access to shit, so he putting it out on the streets through certain individuals. I done seen that happen too. And then when the police get hot on the certain individuals, being that the plug is police too, he tell the nigga, hey, look, they looking at y'all. They might be trying to bust y'all, so I need y'all to shut shop down. You know what I'm saying? For a couple weeks, couple months, I need y'all to move to another spot because they investigating y'all. Nigga be like, okay, all right, boss, bet. It's bigger than what you see sometimes. Sometimes the police be the ones who prop these niggas up, not so they can snitch, not so they can tell, just so the police can make some money illegally. It ain't always the police fronting the nigga work or putting the nigga on so the nigga can tell. Sometimes the police just be crooked than a motherfucker and got access to shit. Or the police know a real plug. You feel me? And hey, look, let me get some of them things. All right. Chico and them let him get them things. Then what he do? He take them down to the hood to his cousin them. Hey, cuz, you can get this shit from me. Know what I'm saying? But we gonna split this shit. Don't tell your niggas that you got that shit from me. Tell them that you know a Chico. But really, it come from the police ass cousin who crooked. Bro, I'm gonna just say it like this. So I started to listen to a many of polices talk about crooked shit. And I'm gonna just say it like that. I'm gonna just say it like that. Sometimes I was happen to be privy to be sitting around or being around certain big time dudes, individuals, and I overheard things. And I was like, wow. They say you ain't supposed to talk to the police. But shit. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Get out them streets, young men. Get out them motherfucking streets. It's bigger than what you see a lot of times. So how this shit keep getting out? I'm telling you, Young Thug them got peoples everywhere. That's how this shit keep getting out.
Hey, I just got exposed by so and so, and they just released all this stuff that y'all said wasn't gonna get released. I don't want nothing to do with this. I don't want to testify. The courts can then charge that person with tampering with the witness. You just affected the case by fucking up a witness testimony. So this is getting deep. They're trying to find out who exposed YSL Woody. I guarantee you they're trying to find out who just released the audio to Rich Homie Quan. I feel that a lot of people are going to have different opinions in this situation. Does Rich Homie Quan abide by the street code? I never heard of him having a gang affiliation. I don't really remember him talking about shooting people, this, that, and the.
Now, okay. Y'all gonna start listening to me. Listen. Did you hear what 1090 Jake just said? They said he was saying that Rich Homie Quan abide by the street code. He said people gonna feel different about this. And you could tell he kind of feel different about this because he said that he never heard Rich Homie Quan rapping about street shit like that or whatever. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to give Rich Homie Quan a pass for talking to the police because it is people who are saying that Rich Homie Quan is not a street dude, so he doesn't adhere to the street code or doesn't have to adhere to the street code. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is the same thing I just told y'all, and I've been telling y'all. The kryptonite to all this shit is if you are a law abiding citizen, you have the right to carry your gun and you ain't in the streets. You know why? Because you can do anything at that point. You're not a snitch if you tell the police something. You can kill a motherfucker if they run up on you because you got your scrap and you legally what's named. No killer gonna want to fuck with you because you registered and you legal. And if you kill the killer, he going to jail. You ain't even going to jail. You ain't gonna even do. They ain't gonna even do shit about that. And if the killer do get into it with you, he shoot at you or whatever, the police are gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. You can go rat to if you ain't in the streets. Do y'all understand? You can go rat to the police and tell the police everything and not be a snitch. See, the nigga that's in the streets, he can't do that because he will be a snitch. See, that's why I keep telling you, just get out the streets and know that them bullshit rules apply. You really free to live and do anything other than murder, shit like that, crimes. You feel me? But I'm saying you ain't bound by no street rules if you're not in the streets. And this is what they're saying about Rich Homie. This is what 1090 Jake is alluding to. He's saying that his people having conversations that's saying that Rich Homie Quan might not be labeled a snitch because he's not in the streets or he's not considered a street guy. When this, I understand what the code for. The code would work if everybody abide by the code, but they don't. So therefore, it is broken. If everybody abided by the code, then yes, I get it. It would work. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's not. They break the code every day. It's somebody breaking the code right now in an interrogation room right now. So since the people break the code, you cannot adhere by the code because somebody that you done made that you in the game with or doing illegal activity with gonna snitch you the fuck out and you going to jail for a long time and they gonna be out because they did not abide by the code and you gonna be in there because you did. Look at YNW Portland. He finna get fried because he abiding by the code. But we already saw the video of Melly telling when he was 16 years old. So you finna not tell on a nigga who done told on a nigga because of the code. Get out the streets, young men. I've been out there. You ain't talking and you ain't listening to nobody who ain't been through it or who ain't been out there. I never told on nobody because I always knew what the fuck I was doing. You couldn't get me to do no shit that I couldn't do the time for. I got partners that's bank robbers, murderers, all type of shit. But I just wasn't with that shit. You feel me? Now, I don't get it twisted. Now, I done got a couple scrapes. But just thank God I ain't end up killing nobody. or didn't nobody kill me. But I'm saying, for like that, I knew my role. I knew what the fuck I was willing to do and what I really wasn't willing to do. I'm talking about on a day-to-day basis doing crimes and shit like that when I was being a career criminal. So by that being said, that saved me because I was good at what I was doing, and I also was willing to do the time for the crime. You feel me? So when I went, anytime I go to jail, I kick my feet up, give me that little cover, give me that, you know, to my, and give me my bunk and give me a book, you know, to my, like Jay Z say, back through the system with the riff raps again. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's how it be business as usual with me. You feel me? Like, hey, it is what it is. I don't cry, no nothing like that. I just, you know what I'm saying, mob on through. You feel me? Cause one thing about it, I ain't did nothing the way I ain't gonna get out one day. I ain't got no football numbers. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I roll. You know, I got a release date, but I'm saying I'm just trying to. A lot of this shit don't have to be happening like it's happening, y'all. I'm trying to tell you with these young men, dog. But what they're saying is, Rich Homie Quan, he might not be held to the street code. I think he should be. Me personally, I think he should be. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think he should be. I'm not saying he's selling bricks and no shit like that, but I'm pretty sure Rich Homie Quan has indulged in some type of illegal activity. So, being that you indulge in some type of illegal activity, I mean, you should. I mean, most likely you are. I mean, I consider Rich Homie a street dude. You know what I'm saying? Is he really a street dude? I don't know. I don't know the nigga, but I consider him a street dude. By me just looking at him, I would consider him a street dude. So I would consider he should be held under the code because you signed this code in invisible. You signed this invisible contract in blood. Now, the minute that you decide to jump into the streets, you ain't got to make the verbally say the oath of the code, but you are therefore bound by the code until you get out the streets. Totally, you feel me? So maybe Rich Homie out the streets totally. If he out the streets totally, then he might don't. He might don't have to adhere by the code. But don't get it twisted. Snitching and telling is two different things. Snitching is when you involved in the streets and you telling and you snitching on somebody, you telling the police something about them. Telling is you don't got to be involved in the streets. Telling you could be a law-abiding citizen and you telling somebody else business. They have the same punishment. So don't get it twisted. When people telling you that you're not a snitch because you ain't in the streets, that don't mean you still can't get fucked up for telling. That's the kicker to this shit. You won't have a snitch jacket on you, but you still can get the same fate as a snitch for telling. Case in point, the little old lady across the street who's snitching on the motherfucker who was selling dope across the street, she can still get her goddamn house firebombed. You feel me? Shit. It's still the same. It's still the same. It's still the fucking same. The punishment is still the same. You could get killed for telling, even if you're a law-abiding citizen, but you just won't be considered a snitch. You see what I'm saying? That's why a lot of law-abiding citizens don't tell, because they don't want to. They don't want to face them consequences of being, of having this, you know, face that danger of motherfucking being untold on somebody. Motherfucker might want to do something to them. But I'm just telling you, back to what I was initially saying. If you get out the streets, you could you won't be held under the same standards as if you in the streets, most likely. And if you legit registered law-abiding citizen, you can go to war with a motherfucker and be good. You feel me? You can damn near walk around here. I ain't gonna say like a police officer, but the second best thing. Just imagine you could stand in the hood or wherever you standing at with your shit on you and can't nobody fuck with you. Can't nobody fuck with you. The police can't fuck with you. The killers out there can't fuck with you. Nobody can't fuck with you. Nigga draw down on you, gun a nigga down, you sit right there and wait till the police. Wait, what happened? Hey man, the nigga draw down on me. I killed the nigga. You ain't gonna even be snitching. You know why? Because you're a law-abiding citizen and you registered. I'm just telling you how the shit could, the best way to be. You know what I mean?
He's saying a close friend of his was killed. He's willing to tell investigators everything he knows. He's saying his father was targeted and shot, and he himself was targeted and shot at. And goddamn, it's just like, who else is gonna tell? Who else already told and we don't know about it? I mean, they got mad names on the witness list, even Lil Wayne and YF and Lucci. And Lucci just denied the deal they were trying to give him in his RICO case. So I can't imagine what they have that would make him a witness in this case. But in my opinion, just from what I read, since we don't know how long this interrogation actually was, we just know it was about 30 minutes, he did bad. He definitely did bad. Definitely didn't have to say all that, but made the decision to do so. I haven't heard a response from him after everything came out on the internet. I know that the night this video is being recorded, he's supposed to be performing at the same show as Boosie and Webby, and I don't know if there's going to be any conflict from that situation.
I want to say another thing too. I know y'all can see this was happening now. All these rappers, or an overwhelming majority or a large proportion of them, are eventually coming out to have this shit on their jacket. Let me tell you what's going to happen with that shit too. Shout out to 6ix9ine, because 6ix9ine set this shit off. I saw it happening once he got out. I was with everybody else. I was like, damn, he gonna be fucked when he get out. They gonna do this, they gonna do that, and he gonna, man, ain't nothing happened to that man. Not what they talking about. I mean, yeah, he got jumped on this one damn time. I mean, yeah, whatever. But I'm talking about, how people talk, oh, we're gonna kick this dude, he's gonna be a snitch, he's gonna have to walk around with 24-hour security. Man, his music not gonna sell. Man, 6ix9ine been sitting right there, still making money, still making moves, all type of shit. You feel me? Still all type of shit. This man still pretty well off. Once I saw that, I realized, yeah, a lot of these dudes gonna be able to still have careers after they snitch. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you how. You got a lot. It's a lot of rappers, a lot of them, who have blemishes about talking to the police, shit like that on their record. I'm telling you, Gucci. Go look at that video where Gucci told who sent the niggas to kill him. It's a video out. It's an actual video. Gucci said Jeezy name on the video. They said who sent these dude could do said he do that. He say, man, shit, Young Jeezy. He said it. Boosie got his jewelry taken by the police. It's a video about that. Boosie told the camera it will be criminal charges filed. That's telling. That you got to go in there and say, hey, yeah, the motherfucker took my jewelry. That guy right there. Now they said people was police. I get it, but still, the code is the code. So they say, Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty told on the niggas who he shot down there. I read the paperwork. Nigga, even motherfucking Bankroll Freddy. Bankroll Freddy was robbed in a hotel. He told the police, they just put the police in jail for setting up the robbery. A police set up the robbery with Bankroll Freddy. Bankroll Freddy talked to the police, told the police, yeah, them the niggas, that nigga right there. I seen it. You got Gunner. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot of these dudes, bro. Boston Richie. You got motherfucking Melly. We just seen interrogation video with Melly. You got what's his name? Rich Homie Quan now. They looking up to see if Young Thug done told. We got T.I. We got QCP. They speculating on Lil Durk. We don't got it nailed down yet, but it's damn now looking like it. Shit, we got LBG, who that is? LBG Butter. We done got Butter. Shit, we damn sure got Fei Fei. Shit, man. Like, man, listen, bro. Come on, man. Bro, stop the bullshit, man. Stop the bullshit. I'm telling you what's going on here. They say, listen, I ain't listening to Gunna CD. They say Gunna CD harder than a motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? These people are still, I'm gonna even take it a step further than that. For the guys that ain't rappers, the guys that was steppers, you got the number one, OG Giggity, aka Mr. Answer Right Back, aka the People's Champ. That man, paperwork say he was involved in over 40 homicides, one way or the other. He definitely told on people that wasn't dead. It's in the paperwork. Some people was dead, some people wasn't, right? He read out right now on YouTube making bank. Got 100,000 subscribers, making a living. You got Brian Glaves Gibbs from New York, convicted murderer, done murdered more than 5 people. He turned state's evidence. He is free right now on YouTube making bank. Been on Vlad TV. Him and OG Geeky have been on Vlad TV. Hold on. Let's go from there. You got Sammy the Bull Gravano, the reputed mafia hitman, worked under John Gotti, the reputed mafia underboss, worked under John Gotti, alleged to have murdered over 20 people. Turned state's evidence against John Gotti. He is free right now on YouTube. Over 100,000 subscribers. I think he got over 200,000 subscribers. Making bank, telling his story, and he is a known snitch. I'm telling you what's going on here. Niggas ain't killing them snitches no more. Everybody's snitching. Everybody's snitching. Everybody's snitching. Look at Young Thug's crew. Everybody in his crew done snitched, the killers and all. Get out the streets, young men. The code is dead.
We're just gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. But hey, let me know y'all thoughts and comments in the comment section. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all. Y'all rocking with me.
Shout out to 1090 Jake. That was a good video. Do anybody want to come up on the panel and talk about the situation? I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna see if y'all want to come up. Y'all don't want to come up and talk about the situation, about the Rich Homie Quan situation. I'm gonna drop the link. If you want to come up and talk about it, hit the link.
a shooting reconstruction expert who examined the car in which YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser were shot and killed in October of 2018. Williams inferred yesterday that evidence from the crime scene showed that a drive-by shooting couldn't have happened and explained his theory that Melly shot YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser from inside the vehicle at point-blank range. It was very compelling testimony. After the prosecution finishes their questioning of Sergeant Williams, the mother of YNW Juvie will take the stand. She'll identify her son as one of the people seen in the surveillance footage from outside the New Era recording studio in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the morning of the double murders, and she also identifies Melly. According to Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley, the video recorded before the murder shows Melly getting into the left rear seat of the Jeep while Sack Chaser was in the front passenger seat and Juvie was in the right rear seat. A video which we've all seen, but today they'll start identifying each person on record. The prosecution also counts all 529 photos from Melly's alleged cell phone in an effort to prove that it was Melly's phone that pinged on the night of the double murder. It's also announced that the jury will also have a site visit to the forensic garage to take a look at the bullet-riddled Jeep Compass that YNW Juvie and Sack Chaser were shot and killed in. This is expected to happen after the upcoming week-long break on July 10th. The jury will simply look at the car, and there won't be any reenactments on display of how the crime took place inside or outside of the vehicle, but that's still a week away. Anyways, with all of that said, let's jump into the courtroom footage, which actually starts with this lady who works for the highway department. And I guess they're going to be showing some toll road footage at some point today. So she's probably just here to verify the footage, but let's have a look.
Can you say your name and where you're currently employed?
My name is Tashara Newman, and I work for the Florida Department of Transportation Turnpike Enterprise.
Okay, and in this particular case, back on or about October of 2018, did you receive a subpoena, not specifically, but the corporation, receive a subpoena regarding video surveillance from October 26th of 2018?
Yes, I did.
And in the form of legal service, correct?
Correct.
Either subpoena or public records.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you fulfill that request?
Yes, I did.
And Ms. Newman, did you have an opportunity prior to your testimony to review the USB?
Yes, I did.
And what is it?
It's a USB with various videos of the toll roads on the express lanes.
From October 26th of 2018?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you last reviewed it?
Yes, it is.
Any alterations or deletions that you can see?
No, ma'am.
Right, at this time, the state reviewed this evidence, states quadruple F, and states 81.
Is there any objection? No, sir. Thank you. It'll be admitted.
Yeah, so apparently we can expect to see toll road footage that can map out where the car Melly was in went. After that, we get into some redirect questioning after yesterday's cross-examination by the defense from Sergeant Williams.
So with regards to the autopsy photos and things that you reviewed, how were you able to get the approximate shoulder width of Mr. Thomas?
So the medical examiner's office, they use a scale it's a big ruler that goes the length of the autopsy table where the decedent is lying.
In terms of that, so you have that 2 feet 6 inches from approximately?
Approximately.
In terms of, counsel asked you with regards to the multiple times as to how did you rule out that someone was outside the car? Why did you do that?
And that was explained in them also multiple times. It's the blood that was on the headliner, the lack of blood in the passenger side rear seat, and the GSR that was inside the vehicle.
Okay. With regards to ejection pattern testing, state counsel asked you about. If you're going to do an ejection pattern, what would you have to do?
You'd have to have the firearm, and you'd have to have the ammunition to conduct that test.
And in terms of the time frame on the casings, is it important to find them immediately after?
It would be very important to find them immediately after.
So a month delay in finding them, could you do ejection pattern testing if it's a month later?
You can, well, if you have the firearm, you can do ejection pattern testing. How it would apply to on the side of the road, you would have to do that on the side of the road with that firearm.
And if individuals have gone back and picked up casings from the scene, how would that affect the judge pattern recreation?
Individuals as in strangers?
Or people that were friends with the defendant. They went back to the side of the road.
Objection, Your Honor.
You can see she's starting to go a little bit harder as time goes on. She basically just implied in front of the jury that Melly or someone he knows went back and picked up the shell cases. She hasn't presented any proof to that effect, and the objection is sustained by the judge, but it's little things like that that jurors hear and then they can't really ever unhear, you know? So she's just planting little seeds slowly as she goes through this case.
If individuals went and picked up casings, not knowing they were involved.
Objection, there's no evidence. As that question's overruled, the objection overruled.
So if they were picked up, it could alter it, but at the end of the day, it still needs to be measured. The approximate distance is obviously going, as I said, this is a unique case where our shooting is contained to a vehicle. So we have known distances within the vehicle. We have known distances of the, not necessarily the arm, but we have a known distance of inside of the width of people, and the stippling pattern that is on Christopher Thomas, who's on the back seat, and some of the stippling that is observed on Anthony Williams, who was in the front seat.
So I basically said this yesterday, and I'll say it again today. The reason why this guy's testimony is so compelling is because everything he says just makes sense. It sounds like the truth, and he says it with mad confidence. And I bet the jurors are just eating this up. And he's basically just reconfirming his testimony from yesterday and reestablishing the science behind it. But it's powerful testimony.
You can tell that it wasn't shot from a mile away by the angle of it and its type of impact into the vehicle. So if it's shot from a mile away, the projectile is going to start tumbling again. It's going to go head over heel. As it loses velocity, as it loses its spin, it's going to start wobbling, and then eventually will start going its head over heel and then keyhole into its target.
Did you see any evidence of distant fire in this case?
No.
In terms of the defendant in this case, you said you measured him?
Yes.
Do you recall the outward date that occurred on?
November 30th, 2021.
And at the time that you measured him, was it here in the courthouse?
Yes.
And that's where your office was at the time?
Yes.
And could you describe his build?
He's slender, but he's tall but slender.
And in terms of, would you say that he has broad shoulders?
No.
And you said he was 5'6", right?
Correct.
He called Melly tall and slender, and then said he was only 5'6". That isn't really tall though, bro.
In terms of that car that we were talking about, what's the best way to get an idea of how big the inside of that car is?
You can measure it, or you can also view it.
And where is that car right now?
That car is in the crime scene unit forensic processing garage right now.
Is it available for the jury to view this morning?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Oh, she. Oh, she's getting into wanting the jury to go lay their eyes on the vehicle, which will have all of that dried up blood and stuff in it. That'll be powerful for the prosecution if it happens. Moving on from Sergeant Williams' testimony, they get into the toll road footage. And I'm not even kidding. They let this video play for like 20 minutes solid with absolutely nothing happening in the courtroom or in the footage.
37 seconds. And now publish I-75, Miramar northbound, 10:26, 18, 3:20 through 3:35, beginning at 3:37 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what we're looking at here. It's impossible to make anything out in these videos, and the prosecution added zero context to it. Just said, these are videos that we obtained from the highway department, played it, and then tried to move on. No context to what was being played. So I'm not even really sure what to make of that video. But anyways, after this, they go through, and I'm not kidding here, over 500 photos from the phone that Melly's manager turned over.
Thank you. So these videos are just to show ownership of the phone.
Ownership of the Snapchat account.
Many of them are either way before this incident or way after. I don't know what the relevance is.
Explain to me, she's trying to establish who owns the Snapchat account because there's a dispute as to ownership of the account. That's the way I understand it. Is that correct, madam?
Yes, right.
So earlier in this trial, she tried to get these photos and videos admitted into evidence on the premise that it proved that the phone belonged to Melly. And the judge basically denied it, saying no. And then what he was going to allow, he said there should be no pictures of money or guns, and only allowed a few of those pictures to go into evidence at the time. This time, she's saying that it proves he owned the Snapchat account that was on the phone. And it looks like the judge is going to allow it to go through.
I know on these videos before there was an objection, and I took out firearms, and there's also one with
Money and cash.
all right. Anything like this on any of these?
Yeah.
You have anything on any?
So that's why I be going over these court proceedings, because it be a lot of shit that we be done missed. So what he was saying is that when she tried to get the judge to admit the photos and shit to prove that it's his phone, the judge denied it. But when she tried to get him to admit the photos and shit to prove that it's his Snapchat account, the judge allowed it. Let's back this up real quick. I needs to know. I got to know.
There should be no pictures of money or guns, and only allowed a few of those pictures to go into evidence at the time.
Is that correct, madam?
Yes, right.
So earlier,
He's trying to establish who owns the Snapchat account because there's a dispute as to ownership of the account. That's the way I understand it. Is that correct, madam?
Yes, right.
So earlier in this trial, she tried to get these photos and videos admitted into evidence on the premise that it proved that the phone belonged to Melly. And the judge basically denied it, saying no. And then what he was going to allow, he said there should be no pictures of money or guns, and only allowed a few of those pictures to go into evidence at the time. This time, she's saying that it proves he owned the Snapchat account that was on the phone. And it looks like the judge is going to allow it to go through.
I know.
You see, but see, that's why I go back over this shit with y'all. And I go over it sometimes I go over other people's reactions of it, because especially lawyers and other people who I feel like got a good perception, a good understanding of what's going on here. And maybe somebody who may have listened a little harder than we've listened. So again, just like I said, they said that at first she was asking the judge to allow the pictures so that they could prove that it was Melly's phone. He denied it. So she doubled back and asked him to allow the picture so that she could prove that it was Melly's Snapchat account, and he allowed it. Christine been cooking behind the scenes low key for a while now. We just been missing what Christine moves is. Christine been cooking, y'all. She's slick. Shout out to Cotty. He right. She making it where she can get a lot of this shit in front of the jury anyways. She using back doors. She using sneaky shit. She using underhanded tactics. She using every trick in the book. She throwing everything at them but the kitchen sink. She trying to get all this shit in so that in front of them 12 people by any means necessary. And that is what she doing. She slick got them photos in anyways. So, okay, so the judge would at first didn't allow the photos because when she was trying to get them to authenticate that this was Melly's phone, he didn't allow them. She doubled back with the same goddamn photos to get them to, and she used the guise of trying to get them to confirm that this Snapchat account. But what she did was she got them to them same photos in front of them, so the jury going to say that this is Melly's phone. So she slick got her way on both cases. She was using the photos to try to get the jury to authenticate that this was Melly's phone. The judge denied it. So she kept double back and used the same photos and said she's trying to get them to authenticate the Snapchat account. But what she did was she got the jury to see the photos, and they gonna automatically assume that this Melly phone anyway, because she gonna authenticate the Snapchat account. This bitch is good.
These videos before there was an objection, and I took out firearms, and there's also one with
Money and cash.
all right. Anything like this on any of these?
There.
Do you have anything on any of these?
The next one as well. They both.
This one?
Yes.
This bitch look like he got 5 kids at the student pickup right now. Waiter.
Do we know who Snapchat is based on what we just saw? Whether it was the other gentleman or Mr.
What's the 403 analysis?
Well, the relevancy, the 401 analysis.
Right, I heard 403. All right, so
401.
relevance on past because they're trying to establish who owns the account. So the relevance objections overruled.
If their purpose is to establish ownership because of who is depicted on the videos, that would be undercut if we're seeing other people depicted on the videos. That does, if the person on the video establishes who owns the account, then it might be the other person's account. So that just shows that the argument does not carry weight. As far as the 403 analysis,
you can argue that to the jury.
In each one of these, it depicts Mr. Demons in a, well, maybe, and we've only seen it. One thing we want the court to do is see them all, not assume the balance of them is not going to contain information that may have a 403 objection. So we first want to see them all and not be ambushed and try to unring the bell after.
You haven't seen them?
We haven't seen the ones, we haven't had them identify the ones that they intend to play. I mean, they give, if you download some social media with millions of items of information and then come in here and cherry pick some to show, we need to see what they intend to play so that we can have some basis to either interpose an objection or not.
That's what they call a motion in limine. You file a motion beforehand and say, Judge, we need some determination as to all of these videos, which ones they're using or something along those lines. So we're not sitting in here while the jury's sitting in the jury room saying, what are they doing out there?
Judge getting a little frustrated with the defense, but he's going to let them play the videos.
So how many are there?
There's 5 more, Judge. 17.
Could you go back to the one before that for a second?
No, we're just going to go through it. We're going through all of it.
Okay.
Let's just get it done.
Judge said, nah. He said, we going through them all. Now sit down and shut up.
So the one that we would have an objection to primarily is the one that they have 3 versions of towards the end with music lyrics in the background saying that end will kill you.
I honestly think it's a solid objection. They did rule earlier in the trial that no lyrics would be admitted, so the defense has a valid point here.
What's the position of state?
That is sent to one of the witnesses, and that it is a threat to them, and also an admission to the incident we have here today.
What? She's saying it was a threat to a witness? How? Wasn't this a public post, y'all?
And that was sent to, hold on. So that was sent to 2 different individuals that then are responses that are showing on the screen now, Your Honor. That there is a message that was sent from the defendant. It was a reply, that was a post that he had put on November 22nd, 2018. Then through the three messages on items 5, 6, and 7 are responses indicating that Mr. Demons had posted that specific message online and acknowledging that they had seen it as one of his stories at that point.
Wait, just because he posted it and a witness replied to the post doesn't mean he sent it to the witness as a threat. That's a totally different thing.
Your Honor, the state just represented initially that they were putting on this evidence to establish the owner of the phone. We then recognized that to have been a pretext because now the state is claiming that the purpose for those highly prejudicial videos is to show that they were sent to a witness. When asked to prove that, the state is demonstrating that it was posted online and somebody responded to it, which is not what the state said. Doesn't show it's being sent to a witness, and it's not for the purpose of establishing its phone, that it's his phone, and it contains lyrics that are prejudicial, and we object on 4 or 3 grounds.
We should say that.
Judge, we can always play it without the sound if that's what defense is concerned on, and it still shows that it is his.
You're saying, though, the messages reflect that there's a threat.
It does, and I think that is relevant, and based on the time frame of when it was posted after the homicides, that it is something that should go before the jury. This particular message, which is authored by the defendant, sent to Ms. Hamilton.
I'm going to just tell you this here, Melly. I'm going to tell you this here. Christine, she got murder on her mind. Christine got murder on her mind. Christine looking over there at Melly, and she saying, she shrugging her shoulders up and down. She said, I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. This white lady gonna kill you, nigga. Like Charlton White said, they gonna hang him. They gonna hang him cool. That white lady finna kill you, nigga. I'm telling you. Christine say, I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Telling you.
Oh, okay, so apparently he sent this video to his girlfriend's mom. That's who's Miss Hamilton is. She testified early on in this trial. Clearly didn't want to be here. Y'all remember?
Sent to Ms. Hamilton saying that the individual known as Fort, also known as Portland, saved in the phone, which is this co-defendant Portland Henry, says that he saved the life of Mr. Demons, and he's coming everywhere with him because if the crackers come grab him, it's my fault.
Yeah, that's a pretty incriminating message right there. It's right up there with the I did that message. He basically just said if Portland gets arrested for the murders, it'll be his fault. It kind of implies that he did it, you know, and I'm not so sure that that's a good thing for Melly.
With respect to the statement itself coming in, our position would be that there is no contextual reference of what it refers to. These people have known each other for a long time. Outside of that, if that is what they're using as the predicate for needing the Facebook account in evidence, and the court deems it to be relevant, the state has offered to play it without prejudicial audio, and we think that would be an acceptable time. The court introduced the subject of money earlier, which is to the extent that it might be off. I'm not quite sure what the court's thinking is, but to the extent that it might be off-putting to see somebody flaunting their means, we think it's unnecessary. Plus, there's an unnecessary, as far as the 403 balance is concerned, the court, if the state's purpose is to establish the ownership of the phone, and they're putting in 300 photos, if we take out 20 photos of marginal relevance and potential prejudice. I think the 4-3 balance clearly weighs in favor of exclusion. It's cumulative and it's also cumulative and unnecessary.
I don't think it's necessary, so it's sustained objection.
Okay, so we'll go through and then create a new selection of those photos with defense, and that way we can get that forward to the ladies and gentlemen jury.
The judge siding with the defense about the money and stuff, saying it's unnecessary. Next, the defense is going to argue that the jury shouldn't view the vehicle until they come back from break next week, probably because he doesn't want it just sitting on their minds for an entire week while they're off. That's the last thing they saw.
Before we do that, I'm of the impression, and I might be wrong, and I stand corrected if I am, that this concludes the evidence that the state has to present today, absent the court ruling that the jury can go and view the automobile. And we have been presented with a written motion that they have fashioned very quickly, nice and efficiently. We would want an opportunity to respond. And so we would object to the viewing of the vehicle today. And if they're going to take 45 minutes of the jury's time to take out photos digitally, and that's all they're going to do when we come back and play them, we might as well conclude and pick this thing up on the 10th when we return.
What is it that you need to do to prepare for a motion to do a jury view, Counsel?
Well, look at some research, particularly with respect to the purpose for that the state has advanced, which is to demonstrate the dimensions of the inside of the cabin of the vehicle. If it is to do that, the jury going and viewing a vehicle with 5-year-old congealed blood in it, a scene, we might very well be able to find a substitute automobile that is clean, that we can rent, that will serve the same purpose.
Hey, he's slick trying to get them not to see that murder scene. And Christine slick trying to get them to see the murder scene. He don't want the jury to see the actual car with the bullet holes with the blood in it, because he knows it might invoke a certain reaction out of the jury. Christine wants them to see it. She wants them to get a sense of what those victims went through. Also, a lot of these jurors are alleged to be women. So Christine playing chess, he playing chess as well.
So if the court is of the opinion that the state is entitled to have the jury examine the dimensions of the vehicle, they can do it in a clean vehicle where there's no prejudice.
Of course, he doesn't want the jury to see the actual vehicle. He's doing his job by trying to keep them away from it, but I don't know how effective this will be.
Call from Captain Tianga telling me that it would basically be impossible to do a jury view today, that if they were going to do it, they needed time and wherewithal to a secure area, because the jury view would, I assume, require the defendant to be there. It'd have to be unshackled. His counsel would have to be there. You'd be there. I'd be there. The jury would be there. And it would be, they'd have to secure the area. And what was explained to me by Captain Tianga is that's not a secure area downstairs. And he is concerned about it. So he said it couldn't be done today.
Yeah, so that's not going to happen until later on in the trial.
So we have at this point subpoenaed multiple witnesses, including, for instance, Travion Glass, who refused to come to testify. We've also subpoenaed Patrick DeLoach, who had unsuccessful service on.
So she is talking about a guy named Trayvon Glass, who was one of the people in the other car that left the studio that night. They tried to get him to identify the bodies, and bro was like, nah, I ain't cooperating, talking, snitching, none of that.
We've subpoenaed Frito Bay, whose legal name is Frederick Gibbons. He has refused to comply with subpoenas, and his attorney, Denise Davis, who had previously accepted service on his behalf, is now no again.
She's talking about Fredo Bang. Remember, Melly allegedly sent his location via Snapchat to Fredo right after it all went down, but Fredo refuses to cooperate. He spoke about.
Shout out to me, the first one to report that it was all kind of shit. What you mean, Fredo Bang put in my? What you mean? Who did it? Who was the first person? Shout out to me. I don't give a damn what nobody else say. Y'all heard it here first. Marita Boy went viral. I was the first person to say that when I read the paperwork. Y'all who been rocking with me, y'all know. I'm talking about then you got all the other blogs picking it up. Some of me was saying that wasn't true. Now, as we can see in court, Marita Boy was right again. Marita Boy was right again. You tried the best. You're not rocking. You tried the rest. Now you're not rocking with the best. And that came from paperwork. So when a motherfucker tell you that they was my source and all of this shit here, you wasn't my source for that motherfucking paperwork, boy. You didn't get me track paperwork, boy. You didn't get me Jana's paperwork, boy. You didn't get me bankroll YNW 80's paperwork, boy. You feel me? This came from the paperwork. And Marita Boy was the first one to bring that to YouTube.
In several interviews, and actually just today he dropped a song titled Free Melly. Just in case y'all missed it, y'all can go check that out when you done here.
There's nothing more powerful.
And there was an additional witness who we have not been able to serve, Jacoby Mills, we have not been able to serve. At this point, the state is re-arguing and requesting that the court allow us to use the family members as the only credible witnesses that the state has to identify the decedents. Today, specifically, we could call Leandra Phillips, one for the purpose of identification, but also for other testimony as well.
Oh, okay. So she's saying because everybody else refused to identify the bodies or cooperate at all she was left with was a close family member, which is Juvie's mom. I guess because they're going to put her on the stand, they need a good reason to do so. Because obviously putting the victim's mother on the stand can be a touchy thing, especially for the defense. I mean, that's a witness that you really don't want to press too hard on. And obviously the defense isn't going to want her to take the stand at all.
We find it to be disingenuous to make the argument that witnesses that the state has been unable to contact for the last 3 years, and they know they have, to say, but we really have been trying while we've been in trial, as though those 4 people who they know to be unavailable are the people that comprise the universe of people that can identify the 2 decedents. That's clearly not the case. To now come and say, we're really still trying to reach them, Judge, is not passing the hurdle of good faith effort to find somebody other than a family member to testify. That is assuming that these are the only 4 people they know. So to now come and say, we still can't find them, but we really have tried for the last 2 weeks, is not moving.
Yeah, Christine cooking. So look what she doing, right? So she this motherfucker, she cooking. When she like I say, she like an old Chevy. She take a little time to get warmed up, but when she get warmed up, goddamn, she running. So look, this what she slick doing too. Remember she tried to get Juvie's mom on the stand before, but they wouldn't allow her on the stand because they said she was too emotional. Here she's trying another way to get Juvie's mom on the stand because she wants to get Juvie's mom in front of the jury because it's women on the jury. She knows that women most likely, especially have children, they're going to be sympathetic for the mother. On top of that, it was a double play. She said that she can't get Fredo Bang to get the court. She can't get Frederick Givens, John Tavius Withers, Mr. Glass, Jacoby Mills. She's saying she can't get none of them to come to court right. She wanted them to come to court because if she get them to come to court, then she can ask them about them statements that they made. But since they won't come to court, she's doubling back and using the excuse that they won't come to court as an excuse to get Juvie's mom on the stand. Bravo, Christine. Bravo, fucking oh. She got murder on her mind. She looking at Melly. She got murder on her mind. She trying to kill that nigga. She got murder on her mind. She got murder on her mind. She got murder on her mind. Do it, Christine.
The ball an inch.
In addition to that, Trevon Glass is scheduled for deposition tomorrow. The state informed us just recently, during the lunch break, that they anticipate he'll be here for deposition. So it's a little immature for them to bring on premature. I'm immature. To bring that up now.
Council, have you discussed with your witnesses possibility of identifying the family member?
Yes, Judge. In fact, that was the reason we sought out Trevon Glass after obtaining the address. We specifically told him that we would only be calling him for the purpose of victim identification. He said even that he would not be willing to come and testify due to safety concerns. Based on our review of the case, we have no other credible witnesses that can identify the decedents. I spoke with Ms. Phillips previously when we had first addressed this. I will remind her. In fact, Ms. Bradley proffered to the court that what we would do to minimize any sort of emotional response from the family members is that we would not even show them the photographs while they were on the stand. The photographs are actually already in evidence. So what I can do is just, having already previously shown her outside the presence of the jury, I would ask her to identify the ME number associated with that photograph and identify her son. And just for today's purposes, we would be only using Ms. Leandra Phillips.
Yes, number one, the rule was invoked. They never brought that to the court's attention to get permission to allow any witness to remain in the courtroom. If the court recalls, at the very beginning of this trial, we discussed Jamie King, the mother of our client. And the state said they were not going to call her and had no objection. But we brought it to the court's attention immediately because we wanted permission of the court because she was listed as a state witness at one period of time. Now, I know they weren't going to call her because they gave us a Brady motion response indicating that she was under criminal investigation, which would indicate that she would invoke her Fifth Amendment privilege.
So they saying that Jamie was a damn state witness, but they didn't call her, and they didn't want to allow her to sit in the courtroom either because she was a state witness. But somewhere along the lines, they decided not to use her as a state witness because they felt like she was going to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights, which she was, I would assume, because she definitely been coached and she know the play, and it would have been a bad look. But if they could have got on their goddamn stand and she didn't do it, boy, I would have loved to see that. But they're right. I wouldn't have called her either because she's going to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights.
Concerning this matter, or any matter. But we did bring it to the court's attention because of the rule. And now to hear that a witness has been sitting in this trial from day one, apparently.
So let me explain to y'all what's happening because y'all might be a little lost right now without a name dropping and stuff. So basically the prosecution wants to bring up Juvie's mom to the stand, right? The defense is saying, one, it shouldn't be allowed to happen because she could become overly emotional, which wouldn't be a good thing. And two, because she's been in the courtroom the entire time, listening and watching all of the experts and everything that's happened, which a witness that is going to give testimony normally wouldn't be allowed to do. He also brought up Melly's mom and said that she's family of Melly, but wasn't going to be allowed to testify because she was under criminal investigation at the time related to this case. I think at one point they actually wanted to charge her as an accessory after the fact, but then they listed her as a state witness, and then it all fell apart for them. But basically, the defense don't want Juvie's mom to testify, just like Melly's mom wasn't allowed to testify, if that makes sense for y'all.
I'm going to say this another thing, too. Pay attention here. So this is true. Certain people who are not in that courtroom, are most likely on that witness list or could potentially be called as witnesses. 100K Track told us on the DJ Academics podcast off the record that he would not be attending the trial. Is it because he's going to be called as a witness? I tend to believe so. That's going to be a day in court to see when Track get up there in that stand. Because I got a feeling they're going to call him as a witness. Because he's on that goddamn witness list. Let's see.
Do you think that's going to create the witness to fashion her testimony?
I don't know.
Such a way?
I don't know. I'm not
Under deposition,
I yes, they did take her deposition, but not on legal ID. And nothing, I don't know what else they're gonna proffer.
As your honor is aware, Marcy's law allows the next of kin to remain in the courtroom during the proceedings.
I'm not trying to belabor this, but certainly, I've not heard any inquiry from the state, to the mother, or the parents, or any close relative, if they know of any of his friends, or any distant relative.
counsel explained to me they made a good faith effort to get somebody else to be able to testify. That hasn't happened yet. There's a lull in the proceedings, and they want to move on and cross that T, dot the I, and have the alleged victims identified.
I also want the case to move along, but quite candidly, they have not even inquired from the family about any distant relative, or I've not heard any proffer from them, or any friends of his.
I just heard her indicate 3 or 4 people that she.
Those were all state witnesses that they have not been able to locate for 4 or 5 since the inception of this case. They've all been implicated, and I would suggest to you that one of the problems they have is that they could be charged with a crime. But the witnesses that they have spoken about are all individuals that were at the studio or in one of the cars.
What's your concern about a family member identifying a victim?
Well, I think the case law is clear. That's frowned upon because of the potential problem.
And what's the potential problem?
The emotional problem that would cause a mistrial.
Didn't counsel didn't I just indicate or ask the counsel to advise me if they've spoken with the family member who's going to identify, and they've indicated they're going to do whatever they can to minimize it. They're not even going to publish the picture at the same time, is the way I understand it.
Well,
right? So
Yes.
I'm passing the counsel respectfully. I understand your objection. I asked the state to see what they can do to get a different witness in. Apparent to me that they've tried, they're unsuccessful in that area. You think greater efforts need to be done. But we'll let the family member again identify or indicate to the family that they're not to have any outbursts of emotion or anything like that. We're going to move forward.
Understanding.
Like a tandem thing. I know we talked about one attorney making the argument. It goes back and forth all the time.
Just want to make sure we have a complete record.
Well, then talk to yourselves about it beforehand. But it's one attorney making the case on this issue. One of you should be able to argue the issue, not have both of you come back one after the next. All right, rule.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Sully.
He wild though, because if I was Juvie Mama, as soon as I'd have got on that stand, I'd have been crying like a motherfucker. For real. I promise you. Yeah. Like, how could he just assume that she's not gonna be emotional? Shit, I would have.
Good afternoon, Sully.
Hi, how are you?
Can you state your name, your full legal name, please?
I'm Leon Phillips.
And are you related to one of the decedents in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
His mother,
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
And you have previously been shown outside the presence of the jury, photograph any number 18-3119. And that was a head photograph. It's now in evidence under case 75. I believe it's photograph number 4. Who was that? Were you able to view that photograph?
That was my son.
If you recall, we showed it to you previously, the headshot with the medical examiner's number. Who was that in that photograph?
Christopher Thomas, my son.
Positive 21915. Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Mhm.
And is that a yes?
Yes,
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
You recognize the individual that got into the back?
I'm confused here a little bit. Why is they asking her to identify him getting into the vehicle? I think I'm saying like they already done and identified him as like he's already been identified.
Nah, hey, that's her being slick again though.
Right.
She let they let her put the suspect who murdered her son in that seat, nigga. Yeah, that was the trick. It wasn't even about Juvie. It was about using his mama to say who sat next to your son. Shit, Jamel did.
That's what I figured. I figured it was something else going on.
Hey, that's the kill shot. She put him in the seat. She basically saying he murdered him. Man, that look she gave him, man. Man, the woman on the jury, they picked that up, bro. Tell it. Hey, she a woman. She know what she doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it real quick. Yeah, but you're right though. That's what it was.
On the left side, the rear driver's side.
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jamel.
And Jamel, is that the defendant, Jamel Demons?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know him by another name?
Melly.
And do you see Melly Jamel Demons in the court?
Yes, I do.
And you identify him by article of clothing and where he's sitting in the courtroom?
Sitting over there. Yeah, tuxedo. I think it was.
Your Honor, let the record reflect the identification of the defendant by this witness.
Record shall so reflect the court identification.
Nothing further.
Yeah, like I said, this is the type of witness.
Hey, look, listen. I'm gonna say this too. It might be a little controversial, but I can speak on the shit now. This shit crazy as hell. But I get it. I understand it. Good move. Good move. Great move. Prosecution. Great move. Christine, you cooking.
Oh shit.
But when you pay attention to what's really going on, it's strange as hell, right? Because Track said that she been still getting money. He been still taking care of Juvie's mom. Track said this. He's still saying this. Track said this as early as last week. He said this, right?
She get money though. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, but this is the same people that's suing Track. Track is in the civil suit too.
Yeah, but shit, man, shit.
They hit him all kind of ways, ain't it?
They owe that to her though. She playing a position, but she gonna take that money. Shit, if her son was alive, he probably be giving her that money.
Yeah, I get it. But what I'm saying is, if you're gonna sue me anyway, and most likely win, what the point of me giving you some money?
He keeping track of that money, so when that lawsuit filed, he can say I already gave this amount already, so I only owe this amount. That nigga, he playing it smart.
Yeah, cause he gonna lose.
Hey, that nigga smart. He smart. He know what he doing.
Yeah, cause he gonna lose that lawsuit for sure.
I think that's the only. Hey, I think that's the only reason why he protected Melly though, cause he know that if he lose that case, that civil suit gonna be hell, boy.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say
if he wins, shit, he ain't do it. They can't sue now.
Yes, the hell they can. Let me tell you what happened. OJ.
I saw that OJ shit, but not like. Go ahead. Go ahead. They're running.
Now, OJ Simpson won the murder case and still was guilty on the civil suit, because the civil suit they allow more shit in.
You damn right though. You right. Yeah.
Cause I thought the same thing. How the fuck you gonna have me liable for a civil suit when I ain't even killed these motherfuckers?
I said that because shit, if Borden got to go to court too, so they can say, man, shit. Let's see if he did it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said no at first.
Yeah.
It's two murders right now, really.
Yeah, you're right. Cause motherfucker, we can put it on Borden.
Yeah, cause Borden lose the case, they gonna say shit. Borden own it, and you know Borden ain't signed no contract.
Right.
But guess what though? Track still signed Borden too though.
Yeah, and all
Track signed that boy. Yeah, he signed that boy.
Right, and the labels is in this lawsuit as well. Yeah.
Either way, Track lose. Either way, you lose.
I wonder how much. It's gonna be interesting to see, but I'm gonna play it. But it's
go ahead.
Interesting shit to see how this shit play out with the money and all of that.
Really don't.
But it was a good play with Christine to get up on that stand because you're right. She identified him as the murderer in front of all these people. That's what the play was. So good move, Christine.
Push too hard. I bet the defense don't even ask a question at all. I know I wouldn't ask any questions.
Ms. Phillips, we want to express our condolences to you.
The part? Come on, let's go to the part. Let's put the capital. We'll go to the part.
They go back to the phone
Day 3, motion on day 4. Motion day 5.
This bitch look like he got 5 kids at the school pickup right now, waiting.
Photograph. 4th photograph. 5th photograph. 6th photograph. 7th photograph. 8th photograph. 11. 12. 21. 25. 26.
That explains how he had on all of that Uzi Vert jewelry on, because I seen that goddamn jewelry that time. That upside down cross that he had, that big ass upside down cross he had on. I was like, man, that's Uzi Vert jewelry. He took a picture with that shit and all on, so that explains how he get it on. That nigga letting that nigga wore that shit. Yeah.
15. 30. 156. 240.
I just want to hold it there for a second. Sure. Thank you for the question. Just passing notes that we'll get your breaks. We'll take a short recess. There you go. Remember the admonition, do not discuss the case before any people about the case go out.
Yeah, so she basically throws up every photo on the phone, basically proving that it's Melly's phone. And I mean, his defense did a good job at the beginning inserting doubt about if the phone belonged to him. But let's be real. If at this point you don't think that that phone is Melly's phone, I don't know what to tell you. So anyways, that's it for day 11. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe.
Good job. Shout out to KB Goes Live, man. Y'all go check him out, man. I like to go over his content too. I like to go over the Cuff Boys, and I like to go over his. You know what I'm saying? And I like to go over Bruce Rivers too. Let me see. I think the Cuff Boys had a nice one too. But that was pretty straight though. I learned some shit that I probably wasn't paying attention to. Christine cooking in that bitch. She slow roasting his ass.
The YNW Melly trial resumes on July 10th, but today we got a few interview clips from Melly's mom, brother, and manager, just to give y'all some more context on what his family members and his manager think about the case, because they don't really talk publicly about what they think. An interesting perspective and sometimes delusional, so you'll see right here. Hit subscribe, let's get right into it. They just seem like they're very supportive of him no matter what, which any family member would do, so.
And at the end of the day, bro, I look at it like this, right? All these other people who were around when Melly was coming up, you know what I'm saying? They're family, they're not family.
That's my firstborn.
We came from the same
I'm gonna always ride for him. I'm gonna always be right by his side, like letting him know that I'm here. I love you, whether you can hear my voice or not, because he still don't got all the privileges. Him knowing, like, I'm not just out here living my best life. Like, I'm hurting every day that he's locked up in there. Like, I think about him every day.
Yeah, I actually do feel bad for his mom because apparently she had a heart attack over this too because of the stress, which is pretty intense. But
almost 4 years coming up, so it's like, a lot of people mistake it.
I mean, it's insane. Exactly. 4 years is crazy.
They basically try to paint that he's guilty without saying that he's guilty. I always keep my tongue shut about it.
Talking about she had a heart attack. We know why she had a heart attack. Has been over here jumping in my chat. And look, we gave her ass a heart attack, bro. She here. She done emailed me and all. Up to I got emails from her and all. Man, shit.
You know what I'm saying? I'm an artist myself too. I can't really say too much.
Yeah, so the past 4 years, Melly's team has never really commented on anything. So it was 4 years of all these articles talking about all the evidence against Melly. So of course the public opinion is going to be swayed that way. So that's what they're talking about now. But
I'd be like, oh, he's guilty. He wrote a song about it. If y'all just go read the black and whites, it tells the story itself.
The song was 3 years before the situation, right?
The song was 4 years.
I feel like I've talked about this song so much. Obviously, Murder in My Mind was not about their murders at all. And some people say, well, then it's a premeditated song. He was predicting. It was years before. You think he planned a murder in his head for years before? No. Life works.
He got 66 pages of DNA. I'm like, do y'all niggas really read what's going on? Because
that's actually true. Because I remember seeing the 66 pages of DNA headline, and I think I even reported on it because I was like, holy shit. But we couldn't physically see the 66 pages of DNA. And now, come to trial, the only DNA they got of him is on the fucking door handle they found 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago now. It's not like they found a lot of DNA. I would imagine those 66 pages include the trajectory and all that bullshit and all the other DNA in the car and everything. That's what that 66 pages includes.
And that's basically how his team works. It's you guys see when we go to trial.
The reason why people are so quick to put Melly in that guilty bucket because it's like, okay, look, 2019 when he first got locked up, a lot of people was like, oh yeah, he's not guilty, free Melly. But then
I actually remember the opposite. I mean, it was 50-50. I feel like a lot of people were saying he was guilty immediately.
What a week.
Hey, listen, I understand folks not, you know what I'm saying, want people to be fucked up. Because listen, man, I'm going to tell y'all, listen, call it what you want, I'm just telling you how I feel. I fucked with King Von music, bro. Nigga, I was mad than a motherfucker when King Von died. And so I could somewhat put myself in the shoes of a Melly fan. You feel what I'm saying? Because I ain't no goddamn fool. I know King Von was a demon. My boy told you a bunch of times what was going on. Goddamn it, you'll be a fool not to believe him. Being that bro, everybody done said he was like that. Nobody ever said Von wasn't like that. So I was fucked up a little bit. Like, damn, boy, he gone. So I get it where they coming from, but at the same time, you got to be a realist and come outside that fantasy world that you living in as a fan. You got to be like, hey man, this what it is. You ain't got to state it publicly, but in your mind, don't get so delusional to where you just believe in the shit that is right. You ain't believing the shit that's right in front of your motherfucking face. It's right there. You feel me?
Our mouth shut more than we didn't say nothing. Like the blogs and stuff kept pushing out that motive, like, oh, they just found this and they got that. They got this and they got that. All I gotta say is, bro, if you know, you know. Like, you just gotta read. Y'all niggas went to school, just read, bro. Like, if you really want to know what's up, just.
Now, can he beat the case? Yes. I said this before the trial started. Some people asked me in the chat, do I think Melly could beat the case? And I stated this. I repeat, I will quote exactly what I said. I said yes. I say because I have seen strange shit happen in the court, inside the court. I seen Casey Anthony beat her case. I seen George Zimmerman beat his case. I seen OJ beat his case. I done seen this shit happen. Shit happens inside that. If them motherfucking state attorneys fumble the case, Yes, a motherfucker can get off. Hell yeah. I'm telling you, I done beat cases. Nigga, beat them. That nigga, I was, all right, okay.
Beat the black and whites, you'll see everything.
I don't really know what B-Slime means by that. But he's a child. Like, B-Slime's like 16. So he's just probably repeating what other people say. But if you read, I mean, there is a lot of evidence. I don't know what he means by that. Like, yes, some of it is circumstantial, but there is like, oh shit, like the trajectory, like the way that the angles of the bullets and the wounds, a lot of it is not a good look for Melly. Then it's also like, all right, there's no murder weapon. It's circumstantial. But the black and whites does kind of lead to Melly. Let's be honest here. Like, we're not gonna act like the black and whites makes him innocent.
Nobody lies on black and whites.
Long ass statement, basically. And basically about the treatment that he's been enduring within the jail and having his phone privileges taken away, not being able to speak to you guys, not being able to speak to his lawyers, etc.
It was just months of going on. Like, we had a hearing and the judge basically said, like, he can't do anything when it comes down to the jail. The jail has their own rules. They make their own rules. Even though, like, they're violating his constitutional rights, like, to be able to have phone calls, have any kind of contact with the public, with his family, like, outside of jail. Like, we don't know if he's eating, if he's not, if he's good or what.
I think that's bullshit.
Man, let me tell you something. Yeah, it's bullshit. But at the same time, that shit happened, dog. That's why I be saying, I guess a lot of people, I understand some people ain't been in jail, bro. I've been in jail a bunch of times, bro. They do what the fuck they want to do to you in there, man. Listen, man. Listen. This is the shit that you need to think about when you do shit and you do shit. You do shit and you do shit dumb. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand, like why I keep trying to tell y'all, anything I ever, listen, bro, listen, anything I ever did, I'm here to tell you, nigga, I understood fully. I understand everybody ain't playing with a full deck. I understand I got some homeboys out there that's gangster, gang, and them niggas was slow in school, trust me. Them niggas is slow, you know what I'm saying? And they can't think. And they probably don't think about the consequences. They only think about the getting away and all of this type of shit. Not me. Nigga, I be thinking about the whole scenario. I play that shit in my head before I decide to even take one step in the direction of what the fuck I'm finna do. That way I know what the fuck the consequences possibly could be, and I accept them motherfuckers. That way it ain't no crying in jail. That way it ain't no telling on nobody, because I already understood what the fuck I was doing, and I don't let nobody manipulate me or force me or peer pressure me into doing shit. Anything I ever did that was legal or wasn't right or whatever you want to call it, I knew what the fuck I was doing. It's no excuses. No excuses. Therefore, it ain't no snitching on nobody. Therefore, I'm going in that bitch and doing my time and getting the hell on up out of there. You feel me? So all that delusional shit, no, hell no, ain't never played that shit. You know what I'm saying? But you can't be doing shit and then don't know the consequences of the actions, and then you get in that bitch and you want to cry, and you get in that bitch you want to snitch, and you get in that bitch you want to do all that. Just don't do the shit, cuz it's very simple. You feel me? I got partners that were bank robbers, nigga. Swear to God, nigga. Them niggas never asked me to rob no bank, and I never asked to go. And if they would have asked me, I would have said no. You know?
They do that on purpose to try to break these guys down. So I don't approve of that shit. That's tough. Apparently doing it to Young Thug too. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing like Melly clog his toilet in retaliation. Like he was like saying fuck you to these like security guards. So he clogged his toilet on purpose.
Don't know nothing. And it's like he's in the county. Like he's not in no prison. A lot of people keep saying that. It's so annoying. He's not in prison. He's at the Broward County Jail. Just sitting.
What happened to your hand?
Oh, so
I brought up the hand in the last video. This is a kind of a wild story how this happened.
Actually, a police officer did it.
She's not gonna say it, but Broward police had a warrant out for her phone. They tried to do an illegal search. They grabbed her hand, twisted it, tore some ligaments in her hand. They did an illegal search, and they did.
It's all gonna come out because we're gonna.
And I want y'all to explain this too, man. That's why you got to be. And for the people who in the suburbs, Caucasian people, Asian people, people who not from the hood, people who ain't been in the hood, people who just fans of Melly's music, and people just seeing these people and being introduced to these people, or types of people at this time right here. This lady is finessing, lying like a motherfucker. This is spin at its best, bro. She is totally different from this in the real life. This is the same lady that was buying her son guns. This is the same lady that's been paying people off. This is the same lady who been behind closed doors telling people, don't tell people Melly was there. Don't tell them, don't talk to the media, this and that there. But she here on No Jumper talking about, yeah, he's innocent. Yeah, they're violating his rights. Yeah, this and that there. She's saying what she was supposed to say in order to spin the shit to make her son look innocent. I understand it. I get it. Hey, that's what a mama, really most mamas will do in this type of situation. But I'm telling y'all, you heard it here first. I already told y'all what was going on with Miss Jamie behind closed doors. And this so when you look at her and you see her on No Jumper in full character, understand it's a character. Understand she doing what she feels she needs to do in order to help her son in the court of public opinion, or as much as she can, to get out of this situation. For B Slime, on the other hand, he loved his brother. He's a young kid. He is only regurgitating what people around him telling him, and he gonna have a certain view of the situation because that's his brother. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you another thing about B Slime. B Slime loved Juvie. When they told B Slime that Juvie was one of the ones that got murdered, he said, "No, not Juvie," and broke down crying. They had a bond. Him and Juvie had a bond. On top of that, when they showed Juvie them pictures in the courtroom, B Slime got up and walked out that motherfucker. He could not take seeing Juvie like that. You feel what I'm saying? So he's a child still, and I'm telling you, he probably torn. He probably don't really know all the truth. You feel what I'm saying? He might do, I don't know, but he probably just only knowing what they telling him. So I get why he's saying what he's saying. I don't fault Jit for saying what he's saying. Jit is just a Jit, dog, and we gotta just leave it at that, you know?
We're going to court for it. They came after me. I don't know why. I'm like, I am a mom and work full time as a nurse. Like, I have nothing to do with nothing. But this is what they're doing 4 years later. Now they're attacking the mom.
She say that's what they're doing. They're attacking the mom. You see how she smart? See, this is what I'm trying to tell you. See how she lying? See how she's spinning? Sex Chaser Mama said in her deposition, I read it to you guys. She said that at first, Jamie played like she was her friend. She said, and this is her word, she said she showed herself friendly at first. She said she showed herself friendly. She said that Jamie came over there and she with Track, a bodyguard, and Jamie. She say that's when Track told her that he'll pay for the funeral, this and that, there, yada yada this, yada yada that. She say Jamie hugged her and they cried together. She say Jamie told her, I lost a son too. She talking about Sack Chaser. She was telling Sack Chaser Mama, I feel your pain. I loved him too. I lost him too. And she cried with Sack Chaser Mama. This is in the deposition. Sack Chaser Mama say we held each other and we just cried. Do you see the level of evil and deceit in this woman? She gonna cry with the man mama knowing she didn't like Sack Chaser at all. But here she is on No Jumper spinning this shit, lying, which I get it. I get it. What the fuck she supposed to say? She supposed to fucking get up there and say, oh, I hated that nigga, and I'm glad my son killed him. No, she's saying what she's supposed to say, it being what hand she playing. But I'm just showing y'all she full of shit. She's full of shit. All the way full of shit.
They probably had some indication she was doing something, but they couldn't really prove it. So yeah, that is definitely up for them.
They was looking to file motherfucking witness tampering charges on her because they was getting wind that she was paying people off, intimidating people. Listen, we got video after video of her talking shit to Spoon, talking shit to YNW and Dreas. Like, this is what she been doing. Listen, that even his girlfriend, what her name, Mariah Hamilton, that's why Jamie was being her friend for so long. Melly got had a whole nother girlfriend. Her name Red, nigga. But Jamie was keeping Mariah Hamilton close because she understood that Mariah Hamilton got information that could send Melly to jail for the rest of his life or put him on death row. So she had to keep this young girl close at least till after the trial. Jamie been handling babysitting a lot of people who could possibly sink her son. So all this shit about she know he innocent and all this, no, she's spinning that shit. And I understand why she's doing it, but I just want you to understand what we're looking at when we're looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know what she would have done besides like just hide stuff. That's my guess. They couldn't prove it, obviously, and this detective tried to snatch her damn phone.
How much tampering did they think that you could have done? Or were they saying that you spoke to somebody on the outside or something like that?
Something like that, but then it turned out like it was all lies and not proven and everything. But you already assaulted me for no reason because you wanted to take my phone. Like, that was crazy.
Police and everything just have like a real vendetta against you and your family just because of his success and everything?
Yeah.
I feel like it's so public and they've done so many things. In this case, it's like kind of wrong.
And I'm gonna tell you another reason why they snatched that phone out of her motherfucking hand too, is because they served her with a warrant for the phone while she was down there. She then got the phone and said that let me text my boss and tell him that I'm not gonna be. I read her shit too. She said, let me text my boss to tell him that I'm not gonna be in today. And the police snatched that bitch out of her hand because I guess he assumed that she might be deleting shit or whatever. But I think it was Moretti too. He snatched that bitch out of her hand. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't illegal. It wasn't a legal search. It might have been a kind of like a little too aggressive seizure. But I mean, whatever. But they had paperwork. She had to give the phone up. But how they went about it, they were just a little too aggressive. They probably, you know how the motherfucking police be. You know what I mean? Them police really get personal about a lot of these cases. I ain't gonna cap. They be really like not liking the people on the other that's accused of doing these crimes. Like, they be really like, man, having in their mind, they make you like the enemy. You feel what I'm saying? And I mean, that's really what it is. It's a game. They got to catch you and you got to not get caught. That's how I always looked at it. You feel me? Hey, they job to catch me, and my job is not to get caught. It's game on, motherfucker.
First met Melly, and I was talking to him about the cops in that area. He made it perfectly clear. He said, they are out to get me. You know, like just from day one, he made that perfectly clear. And I remember being like, you gotta get the fuck out of there.
When he comes home, we are definitely probably not living in Florida. It's like
bro.
hard to.
Bro,
hard to explain.
It's winnable, bro. Like, his case, bro, is really, really winnable. It's all circumstantial evidence. But
no, what you doing?
The defense team is like, bro, like, people just got to do their job. That's all I gotta say, bro.
So you're confident in his defense?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, some of it's a little delusional, having full faith in his defense and saying good lawyers can solve anything, but some of it is circumstantial. All right, next we got a few clips from Melly's manager from an interview, I believe, like a year or two ago. And the police say this guy hid the gun. Remember that? He hid a damn gun the next day, allegedly.
Me and him just kind of got really close because before he came out and did any music, I visited him for a year straight for like 2-3 times a day, like a week.
Okay, and I told y'all, I ran into my partner and didn't even know it. Me and my partner was talking about the case the other day, and my partner was telling me that he was a juvenile officer in the program where Melly was at. So this is true. Because I want some of you guys in the chat asked me how was Track able to go see Melly in jail, being that Melly was a minor. My partner, I could bring him up on the panel because I already talked to him. I was like, bro, you want to come up on the panel and talk? He was like, yeah. He told me that the way Track was able to go see Melly in juvenile is because of the lawyer. Track showed up with the lawyer. And that's when they pretty much like, it was like Melly told them that in the program that he was a rapper, but they kind of like brushed it off. Then when Track showed up with the lawyer and shit like that, they had a court order that, how he could come visit him with the lawyer. That's when they realized that Melly really was an artist inside the program. Like, he was really like serious, like a serious artist at that time. So Track is telling the truth. He was able to go see Melly in the program. I can bring my partner up on the panel. He already told me he'll come up on the panel. And actually, it's another staff member that was a staff member at the program, and he was at the program longer than my partner was, and he actually a police officer now. And my partner told me he was gonna call him to get some more information. Cause I told him, he was like, man, you want me to call my other partner, man, to get some more information about him? I was like, nah, man, you ain't gotta do that shit, man. I ain't trying to get nobody fired and no shit like that. He was like, nah, man, he ain't even no staff no more. He a police officer. He's like, man, I can call him. He's gonna he'll let me know exactly how everything was going with him in there and shit like that. I can get it for you. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and call him. So I'm waiting on him to call me back. Or once I call him back, he'll let me know what what the police said, who the ex-staff member said about how Melly was in the program and shit like that there, whatever. But as far as he know, he said when he was in there with him, he said Melly just rapped a lot. He rapped a lot. And once he never got in no fights. And he said once the staff members realized that he was a serious artist by Track coming to see him, because they say when Track came to see him, Track was fly. He said he think Track was in an Audi. You know what I'm saying? He said Track came to see him a lot. And after that, the staff started looking up Melly's videos and shit on YouTube and shit. And saw he had a lot of views and shit. Say the staff members in the program started treating Melly different. They started giving him more privileges and shit like that. And so it was pretty much like the staff members turned into fans and shit. And of course, the Jits and that was fans and shit. And they say when Melly got released from the program, Melly walked to the gate, Track picked him up, and Melly spread it out about 50 bands out in front of the program, and all the Jits in the looking through the windows and shit went crazy. And he was basically like flexing on the staff, like, fuck y'all, I told y'all, you know what I'm saying, that type shit. And that's what my partner told me. He told me this shit about 4 days ago. So yeah, so Track ain't lying about that part.
Well, yeah, so we did 12 months of straight talking, getting to know each other.
There's something about how he met Melly when Melly was in jail.
From your point of view, do you think he's going to beat it? Of course, there's no case. Melly's free. He's an innocent man. It's just American standard. We're innocent until proven guilty. You know, it's flipped because he's fighting a situation where pretty much no evidence, no anything, just speculations. Yeah. But due to the policy of America, you got to prove that he's innocent.
I mean, obviously, y'all know I'm going to say that's a completely delusional statement. No evidence. There's evidence. I mean,
Yes, evidence. It's evidence that he gave them. Track gave up the most damning piece of evidence that they have using against Melly, and that's that cell phone. When this shit play out, Track gonna be done gave up the most damning evidence of that the state has against Melly, and that's that cell phone.
There's evidence here. He's being supportive. He's being a supportive manager. He talks to the kid a lot. They're friends. And it's not a slam dunk on either side. Like both sides, the prosecution and the defense, have to work hard here to prove their case. So he's acting like it's a slam dunk on the defense side. That's just not true.
Which we know he's innocent. That's something that they're gonna have to find out. Melly's he's come home. He was never.
Now see, here we go again. I just want y'all to know what's going on here. He's doing. I really don't like dissecting Track, because he's a walking contradiction. Because on some behalves he be doing what a good somebody who support Melly should do, but on the other hand, he do shit that somebody who would want Melly in jail for the rest of his life or catch a death penalty would do. So I'm gonna say this. He's saying Melly's innocent. We know he's innocent. This is bullshit. We know it's bullshit. You know how we know it's bullshit? Because he also was at Fredo Bang's house that next day. We know this because Mariah Hamilton's mama, Felicia Holmes, got on that stand and she said I took my daughter to Fredo Bang's house that morning. She went upstairs with Melly. She said me, AA, and Jamie went to lunch. AA is Track's wife. Track was also at Fredo Bang's house. All of them was congregated. All of them was congregated at some point that next morning. And we know, come on now, all this shit done went down. Melly didn't go with the boy to the hospital. We know he pretty much. I'm gonna put this out here too, and I've been put this out here, and I ain't never heard nobody say it, but I'm telling you this shit. Melly cleaned up at Fredo Bang's house. We know this. Like common sense will tell you this. He went from the scene to Fredo Bang's house. He didn't go home. The other boys went straight to Melly's house. What the fuck? They even asked Fredo Bang, did you give Melly a change of clothes? I forgot what his answer was, but if I had to think, it was the plead the fifth shit. Because Fredo Bang didn't admit to shit. They asked him, did he give Melly a change of clothes? What the fuck you think Melly got all this blood and all of this shit off of him at? He got all this shit off him at Fredo Bang's house. I don't understand. I think I remember they hit Fredo Bang's house in South Florida. I can't remember what for, but I don't understand how come they didn't try to search his house, or maybe they did. I'm not sure, but I'm sure. I'm willing to bet you that Melly cleaned up at Fredo Bang's house. It's the only place he went other than after the murder. You see what I'm saying? So Track knows Melly did this shit. Track knows Melly had blood on him. Track knows. Track was Jacoby Mills wrote a statement. Just go on the Broward County Clerk of Courts and look up Jacoby Mills' statement. Jacoby Mills said that the night of the 26th, those boys got killed the morning of the 26th. The night of the 26th, him, Borden, Track, and Melly stopped by a field, and they found, and Jacoby Mills say he found the 40 caliber handgun. It had blood on it, and Track, and he gave it to Track, and Track said, "I'll take care of it." This is in the motherfucking paperwork. This ain't no speculation. This ain't no rumor. Jacoby Mills said that to the police, right? So then when they questioned Track, and they told Track that Jacoby Mills said that, Track said, "I didn't take no gun. That was Jacoby's gun." So they asked Track, "What the fuck was y'all doing at that field?" Track said that he don't be knowing where he going when he with his artists. He say they just tell him and he just go. He say sometimes the artists go places or ask him to go places with them and do things that he's not proud of. He said he even went as far as saying Kodak Black name. He said Kodak and a bunch of other artists asked me to go places and I just go. He say, and he say, and they do things that I'm not proud of, but I'm just a situationer. I'm just a handler. That's what he said. So what he's basically trying to say was, I don't know why we went by the field on the way to the video shoot. All I know is Melly told us to go by the field. This is what he said. I got the paperwork. I can reread it to y'all if I want to. I can go dig it up. He said that I don't know why we be going by why we went by the field. Melly just told us that we were gonna stop by this field. We stopped by this field. He said Jacoby found the gun. This is in the motherfucking paperwork. That's what I want people to know. He said Jacoby found the gun. He said everybody told Jacoby, don't take the gun. He said, but Jacoby wanted to take the gun so bad. He said Jacoby kept the gun. And when they left the field, they went to the video shoot down in Melbourne with the rapper called Burger. That's what he said. So the police say the police was asking him, so the gun ended up in the car with you? He said, yeah, but I didn't have it. Jacoby had it. Then they asked him what happened to the gun after that. He said, I don't know. He said they all had guns. How do I know which gun was which? He snitched again. This is in the paperwork. Like, that's why I don't be understanding. That's why I'm trying to say, King AK-47, if you listen to this, bro, all you got to do is go to the, and I told King AK-47 this straight up on the live we did. I told him this to his own ears. All you got to do to go to Broward County Clerk of Courts, pull up Track paperwork, and the next time you get on live with Track, read what he said when it pertains to them going to that field and finding that gun, and you will have him nailed down as a snitch. He snitched. Jacoby told first, but Track told back, and it's the same shit. So both of y'all told. And then when they asked Track what happened to the gun, he said, "Oh no, they all had guns on them." He was talking about all the YNW members that went to that video shoot with them on the night of the 26th. He said all of them had guns on them. Them niggas felons. So you told again. And then he said that they went straight to the video shoot. The police say, no, that's not true. We tracked y'all to a canal. So he lied. He lied right there. So that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how they ain't got no charges. And how they know he lied is because because Judge Jacoby Mills told them they went by a canal. Now, he never said they threw the gun in the canal or nothing like that. He said they went by a canal. We can only assume that that's what they was going by the canal to do. But they also pinged the phones to the canal. They pinged the phones to the field, and they pinged the phones to the canal. If I had to guess, that field was where Melly stashed the gun at before day that morning. And then that night of the 26th, when they was on the way to Melbourne to do the video with burger, they stop by that shit, get the gun to go dispose of it. Probably get both of the guns because Juvie gun was missing as well. We still don't know what happened to Juvie's gun. See what I'm saying? But I'm just throwing all this out here to show you this nigga talk about he's innocent and all this bullshit and all that there, which I understand that's what you're supposed to say. But I'm just telling y'all what the real deal was really going on. So you, when you listen to these people, you can know when they telling the fucking lies and when they telling the truth.
Never guilty on any charge.
Well, he's accused of killing his two friends.
Exactly.
You know those guys too as well.
Of course.
If it goes to trial and he gets proven guilty in a court of law by a jury, will you feel differently about him, or will you still feel like he got away with it?
It's really nothing to say if, because it's not. When you know the real, you know this is his two brothers that he loved, that was on his face, that he did everything with, they was working to do everything for their family. You understand where I can't even answer that question.
I was a fan of Melly. I don't understand it either. I mean, he had their names tatted on his face before.
See, and I want to say this too. See, this is where a lot of people who not in the streets, who not tuned in. When I mean tuned in, I mean knowing what's going on with anything. This is why they can take the stance that they take, or they can feel the way they feel that Melly may not have done this, or he may be innocent. You know why? Because these people are thinking like rational people. These people are thinking like normal people think. They can't fathom the thought of somebody who would have his friends' names tattooed on them, who would exude and show so much love to, like, camaraderie with these people, to then murder these guys with little motive or no motive at all. And when I mean little motive, I mean little with Sack Chaser and no motive at all with Juvie. See, these regular people can't fathom that. So what they automatically do is, in their mind, they say, he couldn't have done this. Why? He would never. He would never do such a thing, because they can't fathom the that he would do this from looking at the optics. But that's what I be trying to tell y'all. Y'all see, them type of people, they're not tuned in. They're not tuned into what's really going on out here in the reality of shit. They probably don't even be knowing. They probably don't watch what's going on in Chicago, or see what's going on in the inner cities of around in America. They probably don't know nothing about the drill culture and what's going on with the youth and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? But if you knowledgeable on that shit, then you realize, or you know, that this shit is going down everywhere, any town, any city. These kids are murdering each other for nothing. See, you can't look at this situation like a rational person, because you're not going to be able to understand it. What you have to do is just look at it objectively and look at what is actually happening and what you see in front of you. Yeah, so don't be like, oh, he couldn't do this because he got their name tattooed on him. No, you're supposed to be like, no, this nigga killed some niggas who got his name tattooed on them. That's what you're supposed to be looking at. You're supposed to be looking at, like, nah, this nigga did this shit, because that's what really happened. You feel me? So you can see what I'm saying? So, and I'm gonna tell you another thing. When I walk out the door, I automatically think anything can happen. I don't take shit for granted, because when I look on the news, or when I look on YouTube and I look at up these crimes, I see all of this shit happening. I see people getting killed for nothing. I see people getting killed because they happen to walk by a killer one day. Man, I seen a video. It was a homeless man sitting on the curb, and it was a dude standing over him trying to get his gun right to shoot him in the head. The homeless dude had no clue. He was just sitting on the curb. The dude tried to shoot it. The gun jammed. The dude got the gun, went to fucking with it, clocking it, trying to get the shit unjammed. He's just stood there broad daylight. The homeless man never knew nothing. Even when he tried to shoot him the first time, the homeless man didn't see that. He then got the gun right and shot the homeless man right in the head while the homeless man sat on the curb. The homeless man had never had any idea that this dude was doing this. He never looked up. He never did nothing. He was just a homeless man sitting on the curb, and this dude was trying to kill him just to kill him. This is the type of shit that goes on nowadays. This is the shit that's going on right outside your door. So it don't always be A, B, C, D. It be Z, X, A, E, F, Y. This shit be all over the place that end up with people dead nowadays. It don't always have to be a rational reason. These people who do these things are not always rational. Don't you ever see these crimes and you be like, You say that to yourself. You be like, what the fuck? Bro, it was a situation in Orlando a long time ago. Long time ago. I can't remember exactly how long ago, but I remember it was this one dude, and he got like 5 people to go inside his house and beat these other people up and kill them with bats. And I think it was over a fucking PlayStation. It was over a PlayStation. It was like 5 people. It was some girls involved too. And they beat these, I can't remember how many people they beat, but they beat them up and they killed them with bats. And they all did it. But it was over a PlayStation. It was like 5 of them. It was like 2 girls and 3 dudes. And I can't remember how many people they killed. I think it was like 2 or 3 or something like that. But they all got convicted. But they did it over a fucking PlayStation. They beat them to death with bats in their house by the PlayStation. Man, y'all better be tuned in to what's going on out here.
Even we're dead. Like, you love these guys. But we see all the time in this world, people kill the people they love. What, last week some dude lined up his 3 kids and shot them in the fucking head.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's impossible to even think that way because it's not true. Like that's my best friend. That's somebody who's genuinely a good-hearted person. That wasn't his enemies. That wasn't no oppositions. That was his day one friend that he loved. So there's no way. Like it's not gonna happen because there's nothing to convict him of. The whole system is politics. So what we got to realize, that record, you have those 2 individuals that's allegedly murdered in the video. They're the main actors in the video. So you're gonna use a song to convict a man for allegedly murdering his friends that's in the video having a good time. Come on. You know what I'm talking about? It's backwards. It's crazy.
All right, I got another interview of 100K.
I want to say this too, right? I think if I was Track, I think he should have just stayed out of it. I think he should have never did none of these interviews. I think he should have, but of course, we know Track, he likes the limelight. He likes the limelight. He likes to be in front of the camera. But I think he should have did no interviews. I think he should have just kept his mouth shut and kept his opinions to himself until way after the trial, right? Because when you do these interviews, it makes you look like a certain kind of way. So let's think about this now, right? So he's saying what he's saying, right? But you disrespecting Juvie, Sack Chaser, and their families because you know what's really going on. I told you how much involved he is. He's even alleged to have been the one that got rid of the murder weapon. This is in the paperwork. Anybody who reading that paperwork would know that. Like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. He's sitting out here doing a Vlad interview, right? Most likely Vlad read that paperwork before Track touched that interview chair, right? So Vlad's sitting across from him looking at him like, you lying motherfucker. You lying motherfucker. The paperwork say right here that you the one who possibly got rid of the gun. But you sitting up here proclaiming his innocence and this and that, they're all in front of people. But if Vlad read that paperwork, which he most likely did before Track got his ass in that interview chair, he knows Track lying. Or he may feel like he lying. See what I'm saying? Bro, you sitting there talking about this man won't do this to these people and do this to that and do, but you the same person that's going down there paying everybody. You the same person paid Felicia Holmes to go down to the Virgin Islands, and she said in her own Instagram statement when she was threatening you that you said you was gonna take care of her till after the trial, and now y'all don't stop answering the phone, and if you don't get with her, y'all can call her Miss Snitch bitch. She said in her deposition, Melly, my daughter kept Melly's secrets, and he dogged my daughter out. Tell them that we're cooperating. This is in the paperwork. So when these people talk about they ain't having to do with nothing, this and that, there, he's innocent. Y'all, this is big cap like a motherfucker.
Back from last week. I don't know why this guy's out doing interviews a week ago.
I know there was never intention. I could feel like he could be a suspect to murdering for allegedly murdering his two friends. I don't see it at all from just hanging around them for the amount of time that we hanged around. So I ain't taking it all. I ain't taking no way at all. I just looked at it as people making speculations and things like that.
Pretty much what he said 2 years ago as well in the other interview. What is that saying that a detective say? It's like when someone, like a wife dies, it's like 8 times out of 10 it's the husband that did it. Just because from an outside perspective you see people like love each other and that they have a good relationship doesn't mean they're not capable of hurting each other. And he repeats that a lot in these interviews. It's pretty surprising that his whole basis is just from knowing them. That's your whole basis off thinking he's innocent. It's just because you knew them together.
If you able to see what I seen, like the environment and how they was, the connection, that verdict says anything less than not guilty, then yeah, it would mess up my trust.
See this bullshit too. You see what I'm saying? You see why you shouldn't do these interviews? Because he's sitting up here saying, you see the amount of love that he had for these guys, for you to believe that he would do such a thing, it's appalling, it's preposterous, all of that shit. That's just what he's saying. But he knows this man did this shit because he's involved himself. You see the bullshit, you see the disrespect. But if he wouldn't do these interviews, but listen, hold on. But you're gonna walk in. This should be tripping. So, but you're gonna go in front of Juvie and Sack Chaser Mama and give them money and pretty much try to, pay them, you know what I'm saying, to believe a certain way. Oh, he's for my children. I believe him. You feel what I'm saying? But you knowing it's totally different though. You knowing what's really going on though. That's what I'm saying. If he wouldn't do these interviews and just be behind the scenes, we wouldn't have these interviews to critique his movements. You feel me? We wouldn't know what he felt because he wouldn't have told us. You feel me?
So it's like it will definitely give me some type of PTSD when it comes to like people, because I personally never seen it coming. They supported each other and genuinely loved each other. So I'm 100% sure like the verdict is going to be what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Because of course, I mean, it's always it's always an appeal for sure. Gotta go for an appeal. You know what I'm saying? Then there's the death penalty being on the table, going for that. You know what I'm saying? Try to get that completely gone or revisited.
Obviously, these are his friends and family. They're going to support him no matter what. I just thought it was pretty interesting how kind of delusional some of it is, but, and just gives more context because we don't really see his friends or family talking about what they actually think the trial's about. They're not even really saying anything, but there's evidence that points to that back left seat, you know what I'm saying? And who was sitting in the back left seat? Melly was. So keep uploading random shit throughout the week because there's no trial this week. So subscribe right now. Follow me on Twitter.
All right. Shout out to the Cuff Boys. Y'all go subscribe to the Cuff Boys, man. We just use the Cuff Boys content. So, in my closing, I'm gonna just say, you guys, man, get out the streets, man. Young people, get out the streets. So you have to be involved in this type of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? We went over Rich Homie Quan snitching, and we went over some pretty much some background information involving the Melly case. Like I say, a lot of this stuff. These interviews have been out there. The Cam Come On interview is new, but the other interview with Track was fairly old. But we just went over some back stuff with the Melly case so we could, and the No Jumper interview was for a while ago as well. But we just went over some back stuff with the Melly case so we could get inside these people's heads and understand and pay attention and see some of the moves these people making and dissect some of the stuff that these people were saying in these interviews. Shout out to Cardi Apparel, appreciate you. Shout out to Eve. Shout out to It's Still Ashley Beer. Shout out to Nailborn. Shout out to Dream Dog. Shout out to Flyboy Michael 4. Shout out to Audio Crack 22. Shout out to Unspoken Crime Murders or Unspoken Crime Mysteries. My boy got 2 channels. Go subscribe to him. Shout out to Lil Kale's Truth Movement. I see you, gang. Also, shout out to Trigger Man. Tell him, goddamn me. Y'all go subscribe to Trigger Man. Tell him TV, goddamn me. Texas in the building. You know, so I need to go back out there to Texas, man. I've been in Houston, man, but I really need to go out to Texas, man, to see what's going on out there and hang around out there, man. I need to really, you know what I'm saying? They say everything big in Texas, man. And when I went to Houston, I enjoyed myself in Houston. So I think I need to get out to Texas. I'm probably gonna go out to Cali sometime soon too. Go out there and holler at my boy Audio Crack 22. Go out there and meet his lovely wife. You know what I'm saying? And really link in with the family, man. Because you know what I'm saying. We family now, so you know what I mean. I need to take that trip and get out there and really link in with my family and you know what I mean, break bread with them and really get to know. You know what I'm saying? Get that, you know, interact with them and stuff like that. And I'm probably gonna I want to go to Texas too. You know what I'm saying? All of y'all, I mean, I'm gonna take trips. Listen, I'll fly. Flying ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all I've been to Puerto Rico twice. I've been on quite a few places. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna hop on me a plane here shortly. Probably the next time I decide to go somewhere like on a little vacation, I'm probably gonna go somewhere where I can link in with some of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Eve. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to KL1K. Shout out to Craig Mack. Who else? Who else? Who else? Give y'all shots out. Shout out to T Dub. Shout out Invisible Woman. Shout out Jason, follower of Christ. Oh, guys, another thing. Go follow me on Instagram at Crosstown Pico. That's CROSSTOWNPECO. No spaces in between. CROSSTOWNPECO. No spaces in between on IG. Also, if you're feeling generous, please donate to the channel. Any donation will be appreciated, man. Y'all know y'all been rocking with your boy for 2 years, man. Listen, man. We all know when it really came down to it, this platform right here was the one that was giving out the real deal, what was going on in this case. And as we watch this case, we see that a lot of the stuff that we was going over a year, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, it is true. You guys here on this platform know more about this case than anybody pretty much on YouTube other than the people that's connected directly to the case. We is definitely in the top 2, 3 platforms on YouTube that's concerning this case. Feel me? We went over the paperwork. We had a close connection and still got close connections to what's going on. And when you pay attention to what's going on, you guys knew shit before anybody. You guys knew because you guys subscribed, you guys supported, you guys was rocking with me. I appreciate y'all. So if you're feeling like donating to the channel, which I would appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? We got to buy some more equipment. Like I said, I'm gonna get some lights, some ring lights. Some more shit. I have a Mac. I'm working with Mac, but I want to get some monitors and shit like that. We're gonna have this thing real nice. I might even get a scripper to be scripping behind me one on Fridays. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get some fish in the flow like nappy cuts. You feel what I'm saying? You know. So man, please, you know, subscribe. Please donate. The Cash App is on the bottom of the screen. Marita Boy 407. Marita Boy 407. Like, share, subscribe, make a comment to this video. Let me know your opinions. Even if you say even if it's opinion, you just want a question. That's another thing. I want y'all to jump in the comment sections and let me know what content y'all want to go over too, because we diversifying as you can see. You know what I mean? We went over Rich Homie Quan. I mean, we still got a lot of Melly content to go through. We still got State Feet Portland gonna be going to trial in the next couple months. We still got, you know, a month or so of this trial. And then when this trial over, we probably gonna get an appeal. If you get convicted, most likely you're gonna get convicted. So we're gonna get an appeal. So this thing gonna drag out for a while, but we still gotta diversify the platform because it is a lot of other topics that you guys want to hear about and that I want to talk about. So get in the comment section. Let me know what topics y'all want to talk about. And my next video, we'll talk about them. That's how we gonna do this. That's how we gonna use our community to fuel the content. You guys tell me what you want to talk about. I'll go do some research on it. If I know a lot about it, I might got a few people I can call I told you I got a couple people in the rap community, in the hip hop community, and I can ask them questions, and we can get some answers to it. And I can get on the internet and do my due diligence, do a little digging, and we can talk about it. So get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all want to talk about, and we'll talk about it on my next live. And I'm gonna give you a shout out for being the person who gave the idea of the content, and that's the content we going over. You feel what I'm saying? So if you give me a suggestion when I talk about that content, you're gonna get a shout out, and I appreciate y'all, man. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I gotta go to work a little later on. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna try to get me a little rest before I go to work. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Stay righteous, man. Chill. Yeah, my account private, but still send a request. I'll get it. I'm finna get on that motherfucker right now. I got y'all. I'm finna send y'all a what's. I'm finna go on make it public right now. I got you.